Debate, Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of the shows while they premiere, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and the thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So, a massive shout of thanks and appreciation to Survive the Spin, FE Patriot, Steve, On the Level, Thomas van der Zander, Cannabear, Gary Hughes, Measured Flat, Chris Wouters, Sensual Goat, Mitch Kennedy, Rod, the name's Burley, Twodwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flat Earth Travolta, J Mel's 24, Unimento, Iron 26, Endless, Golden McKinnon, Retro Bill, Level Playing Poem, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnells, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Mac 777, Rob W, Del West Watson, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Texas Mike, Chow Yun Cat, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever's in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
Yeah, well, we'll put a message in the mod room for Bushel and Rayleigh to keep an eye out. All right?
I'll have my phone on me, bro. I'll listen. Yeah, like just after 8:45, I won't be able to talk and stuff like that. But I'll get the notifications and everything. So no worries, bro. You do your thing, man.
All right.
All right.
Well, I'm gonna get ready. I'll see
All right,
you
bro.
guys later.
Talk to you later, man.
One of my Patreons got in touch to ask if I was aware that Jiren had suggested that the affirming the consequent would be successful if he saw 24 hours of sun. So I explained that, yeah, we definitely cover that on multiple occasions.
Just the fact
Wait,
that
he
he
said
had to ask
if he
that
saw the
question.
sun.
Neil and Mush.
I said just the fact that he said ask that stupid question.
Yeah.
Wait, so he said if we see the sun, it's not affirming the consequent. So he doesn't know if they're gonna see it. So they're going down there to see if it's gonna happen. In other words, nobody knows, right?
Yeah, but the suggestion of the fallacy is being claimed to be functional. Like it's reasonable logic to suggest that if you see a 24-hour sun, then the Earth is a sphere by antipodal assumption. But he's accepted that, and it was being asked, have we pointed out that he's accepted that? And I was like, yeah.
Wait, I'm looking for a video. I think somebody posted a video yesterday. Jiren is a shill or something. Did you guys see that?
No. Perhaps that's what sparked it off then,
Second.
because it was the first thing I woke up to. So maybe he's affirmed that for a second or third or however many times he's affirmed this, because I was aware and we have covered it. But he's obviously affirmed it again.
But Jiren is supposedly not going, right?
I don't know. Anybody know?
I'm telling you, nobody's going.
Yeah, we got that.
Of course. Yeah. That's why I said supposedly, man.
Yeah, Mush has been saying that for
But I
ages
think
now.
he took himself off a list.
What are we covering today? Anybody know?
We finished yesterday's. Did we finish yesterday's video?
Yeah. Obviously. It's not yesterday anymore.
I've posted to Master B, but originally he was going to post Will Duff. He was going to review Will Duffy and the guy who's spoofing Quantum Eraser's name, which is a bit strange.
Oh, are you talking about Brian Leak?
Was it Quantum Bus Eraser or something
Yeah, Short
like that?
Bus. Yeah. That's Brian Leak. So Brian Leak is particularly put out, and I don't blame him, for a couple of different reasons, right? First, because he sees himself as a dedicated flat earther, right? And he's being criticised. Now, I can tell by the way he's responding to the criticism that he doesn't exactly follow why he would be being criticised and not called a flat earther. So I can appreciate why he doesn't get it. But I've left a comment on that video, I think it might be the same video you shared, and said, look, are you around when Flat Earth debate's on? It'd be nice to chat to you. Because, you know, I think he's got the best of intentions. So that's one reason he's pissed. The other is, in an offhand comment, QE's gone, have you been smashing your face with a shovel? Because he's got a bandage on his nose. Well, he had a pretty horrific traffic accident on a motorcycle. And he showed the injuries. Rough. So you kind of go, oh, that's in very poor taste, not knowing that you had a very severe accident, and that's why you've got bandages on you. The guy could have died. So very poor taste on our account, and it's not an excuse that we don't know. It's just one of those things that's one time you're talking about smashing your face in a shovel for being stupid, implying that you're stupid. That will be taken as, look, I have actually got quite a severe injury at the moment. You're like, oh, well, that's definitely in poor taste then. So it's one of those, but...
Well, it's just Americans, isn't it? They shoot first and ask questions later. And then us British have to go and clear the mess.
Well, with regards to Brian Leak, right, I think he does have the best of intentions. But for whatever reason, perhaps he's been poisoned against us, but he showed a bit of willing. He came to my comment section a few days back and was like, thanks for trying to defend me, or words to that effect, because presumably I'd said something similar during the broadcast that he's responding to, right? At some point I've gone lay off Brian or something like that. Anyway, my pleas have been gone and heeded, and it's continued, and he's made this response. Now, all I'm interested in is people having really good arguments. And in the case of any involvement with TFE, means that we can make the declaration, you're not a flat earther, you're a flat earth believer, if you're going out to do tests and affirm the consequent with this fallacious set of reasoning in false dichotomy with flat earthers and globe earthers going both for the same reason, to affirm their belief. Which means when we say you're not a flat earther, we mean it because you don't know if you're going to Antarctica to confirm that it's flat. Number one, it won't do that. It's a fallacy. Number two, we'd rather you were furnished with arguments that let you know it's flat. Then you wouldn't need to go to Antarctica. There'd be no fascination anymore because you'd know how Earth was functioning in a practical manner, and that would leave you with no desire to go and look at a sun that doesn't affirm how the ground is being functionally utilised to get there, for example, with flight, or maps to chart and navigate with the stars. You know, these things are flat Earth prerequisites that once you know them, you're like, why would I jump on a flight that's going to affirm how flat Earth is to stay in the air, to arrive in a place, to assume that I'm on the bottom of a ball, and then say if I see a certain phenomena, it will affirm that I'm on the bottom of a ball. Well, if he understood that, number one, he'd be less concerned with things like TFE, wouldn't he? So he'd be like, I already know it's flat. I don't need to go down there for this, thanks. But he's not. He wants to go down there, and he's justifying it by going, well, who wouldn't want a £30,000 trip to confirm their belief? He's not saying it, I'm paraphrasing it, but you get what I'm driving at, right?
Yes, Nathan.
Yes, Nathan, we understand.
Thank you, minions.
Now, back to Brian Leak. Well, you know, it wasn't good what QE said, but I'm sure when QE comes to an understanding of what happened, he will apologize. But he has smashed himself in the face with a few shovels, with the upward rising earth and the ESA. So he's not an innocent.
Yeah, but he also called him brains are leaking, and he literally had quite a severe head injury that opened up quite a substantial part of his head. So, again, just by chance, incredibly inappropriate. Would you not agree?
No, I agreed with you there, and I'm sure
What
Kiwi
I'm trying
will
to drive at,
apologize.
5 mile an hour faster and his brains would have been leaking out.
No, I agree. It was very poor taste. Kiwi's got to apologize.
He didn't know. I don't see it's justified that he has to apologise for something he was unaware of, other than to say, now I am aware it was in poor taste in hindsight.
Hold on. Regardless, when somebody's got bandages on his face, you just don't say nothing. But what happened? Are you okay?
Either
Well,
way,
diplomacy isn't Kiwi's
that's
strong suit, is it?
secondary
Let's
as
be
much as it
honest,
sounds cold, right? Okay, yes, I said your accident looks brutal. Ultimately, I want you to have good arguments for flat Earth, because as cold as it is, it's like when we don't concern ourselves about the personal nature of people when they're making arguments. Well, this is the same, although it's tragic and unfortunate. It's like, yeah, but the reason we're by chance belittling something that definitely shouldn't have been is because you're associating with a fraudster who's trying to affirm the consequent for flat earthers and affirm the consequent for globe earthers with fraud. Now, that means two things. One, you're associating with a fraudster. Two, you don't know it's flat, or you wouldn't have an interest in this.
Well, I'm not sure who suggested that video. The two I suggested was one by Moo Cake, and that's more of a documentary, so it might be more suitable for QE's live show because it's quite long. It's like half an hour at least. And the other is called Dispatch, something, Survival Dispatch. And that's very interesting. It's two quite wholesome guys in the woods, I think, who have a survival channel. And they have a pseudo-science, rocket science scientist on. And she's asked about flat Earth and how to prove a globe, and it's tragically hilarious.
Okay. I mean, what's this one that was shared today? Is it today? You say, another condescending prick.
That's the documentary one.
Is that the one that you said was more appropriate?
The QE show, I reckon, because it's quite a long video, and
Oh yeah,
it doesn't
because
have you got about an hour show, don't you? He has a time. He doesn't really have a time schedule. It's more
gotcha. So
freestyle.
what you're saying is he can drag it out for 6 hours by pausing every 5 seconds while Adam and I interrupt if we're there.
Yep, that's the idea.
I look at it and see it as being more appropriate, especially as it's gauged an emotional reaction from you to a degree in the comment that you put alongside it. So just based on that alone, I'm more inclined to cover this. Whereas the fact that you find it humorous that they're doing their pseudoscience with rockets on their survival channel, that to me sounds more fun but less specific to the subject, especially based on its title, Deflating the Flat Earth. I mean, I'll let you choose. You're picking these out, right? So you pick. Which one do you want to do?
Well, what I will say is the Brian Leakey video was suggested by someone before mine. So do you want to cover that one first and then leave these two for next week?
No, I've watched it and I've left him a comment and I understand his grievances. Yeah, I don't think he wants us to do a comment response video on his comment response video to our comment response video of Will Duffy's competition that he was involved in. I definitely don't want to do that. Which one of the which one of the others?
Okay,
on, pick one.
The Survival Dispatch for your show, and then Mooncake for QE show.
Ah, boo! you want the one I want on QE show? Fair enough. And where's the other one? Is it before that? Mars Survival. Is that it?
Yes.
Mars Survival. Great. What? Okay, let's sound check it.
It's a bit tragic.
Just give me a sec, sorry.
Guys.
Just one
They're
sec.
quite wholesome.
Hold on one sec.
Often do you get to sit around a rocket scientist and pick their brain? So today we're going to be covering things such as the flat Earth theory.
Don't say pick his brains in light of what happened to Brian. Very poor taste.
And Martian bushcrafting. Stay tuned.
Okay, so this is a 13-minute video. Where is it relevant to us? Because surely you don't want me to cover all of it, right?
I'll dig through and find the exact timestamp now.
If
It
you
is
can.
very relevant though, because he
Okay.
asked her about how to prove a sphere.
Yeah. If you can dig to the bit that we're, because otherwise it is going to be a bit tedious. As much as I'd love to, share their survival stuff at the beginning. Thank you.
I do feel for them because they seem like wholesome guys. Like if they were my neighbours, I feel very safe and I would trust them. And they're asking this lady and they're wanting genuine answers. And when they ask her for proof of the sphere and she just says that flat earthers are nuts and that's her answer, and they start laughing, then they immediately go for no, but what about all these questions that they have? So they have that empty feeling, although, they've had to laugh along to get along. They still haven't got an answer, and she knows that. And there's a great moment where they start reading off the questions and the typical things that flat earthers say. And as soon as he starts speaking, she starts looking away and waving her hand like she's casting away the flat earth spirits. You'll see.
This is what we're going to be covering today.
Yes.
Okay, sounds fun. Maybe I was wrong. Be gone, vile flat earth. They have nothing but personal attacks. Brian's so right. I know it was always the case, but it just takes something like Brian to point it out. Brian's logic we're talking about now. It's like everything they have in response is a personal attack. Like this guy says gas fills space based on a law of nature. Quick, find something he said that was stupid.
That is actually true because I remember now I'm part of Flat Earth debate on the panel, but I'm not putting out videos to the globe. And she says, Neil, have you got out of jail? Now that's a personal attack. I haven't been in jail in over 20 years.
Yeah. How can I discredit you as an individual so I can completely handwave any argument that you ever present ever?
I called it, Nathan. I knew Jay was dumb enough to respond. And he said he's going to make an entire video just for you.
Yeah, I'm hoping he does, because if he does, what we'll have is gas go down, go boom boom. And when he does, I can then juxtapose him with Thunderfoot and say, look, PhD clown Thunderfoot is as stupid as this clearly self-confessed, lazy, ignorant glurf. That's the standard of PhD clown Thunderfoot. Because that's where it's going, isn't it?
Yeah. Bless him.
Yeah. Dunning-Kruger deflector shields at 100%.
But at least with Brian getting in the comments, if somebody else like QE was, he's in his video, he's going to shout out your channel. And you never know, in 5 years, he might, because of YouTube, he might have 500,000 subscribers and you've got your channel shouted out. So
Oh, joy.
it's worth getting your, yeah.
Yeah, that is the idea. I shouldn't decry what you're saying because it's my sentiment, obviously. But yes. I put these guys in the title now. What are they called? Survival Dispatch.
Yes.
Oh, they got quite a big channel. Could highlight the damn thing. There we go. Yeah, I'll put them in the live heading. I don't normally do this. I normally change it after the fact. Done. Cool.
Hey, Nathan, I started my day off with a flat tire today on the highway. How do you like that?
I started yesterday off with a £400 bill for calipers when I thought I only needed a couple of new brake pads. So, you want my sympathy for your flat tyre? Even the garage apologised, right? So I booked the car and I'm like, the brakes are squealing, please can you put some new pads in? Yeah, no worries. They call me up and they're like, the pads are fine, but I can't remember which they said, driver or passenger side, is binding, it's not releasing. I'm like, they were like, do you want me to sort it? I'm like, yeah, of course I do. So they do it, they strip it, they fix it, they replace it. They call me and say, it'll be ready in about half an hour. I'm like, okay. Now, fortunately, I had stuff on, so I didn't just immediately start walking down there, because obviously we've only got one car. I have to walk across town to this garage. And he phones back an hour later and was like, on the test drive, the other one's now binding. Now, I trust this garage. I've been dealing with them for a very long time. I don't just disbelieve them. And they were very apologetic. They're like, this seems to be always the case with you and your car. You bring it in for one thing, it turns out to be more expensive than we anticipated. And then there's more things that pile on top of it. And I'm like, it's par for the course, because that car's always been like that. It's a little sports car, so it's always got little things like that. But in the last couple of years, it's actually been quite good, probably because we've changed all the things that are liable to break. But this just isn't one of them. But, you know, we were like, shrug it off. I did a bit of e-begging yesterday, and you just hope that someone will bail us out when it costs us dearly at the end of the month. But it's one of them. Do you want to fix your brakes? Yes. Yes, definitely. There's going to be 2 children in the back of that car. I want the brakes to be perfect.
That thing that happened to me when I was using my neighbor's vehicle. I said, the brakes are squealing a little. I'll bring it in. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. Calipers, $675.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, if they're not releasing, they're heating the brakes up. So you go to the pads. I physically tested it after doing a little run to get petrol. I'm like, I can hear it squeaking. Let's just go and touch the brakes. I think it was the passenger side, was just red hot. And you're like, so it's going to destroy the brake pads. It's going to probably warp the discs. It's going to cost more fuel. It's pulling slightly. It's squeaking. You're like, oh, God. Thank you, hun. Not you. My
How
wife
do you
gave me coffee.
preempt that, calipers?
Say again.
How do you preempt calipers? There's got to be a way you could check.
It's just one of them. They're a moving part, Neil. Entropy, mate.
Right, Nathan, you ready? Timestamp to start from is 9 minutes 20.
Oh,
Now,
that's
they
making
only
it.
speak about, we're on topic until about 12 minutes. So
Oh,
they're
that's
not on
perfect.
topic for long, only a couple of minutes. So
No, that's
we might be
perfect.
able
That's
to jump to
ideal.
the other
That's
video
like,
after.
that's great show length type, 3 or 4 minutes. We turn that into half an hour. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, I was going to say if you wanted to jump to the other video after, then, but okay.
Now I like to do just one video.
You guys are aware that upward rising earthers are about to make a return. They said they're working on the experiments to prove the reality, and they're gonna come back to FED, and the FED is gonna lose.
Yeah, I saw JC was back in Fed in the
Yes.
Discord the other day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. He said you can't have orientation from stationary, no different than you can't have gas pressure without a container. Can anybody tell me,
He's an
like,
idiot.
what?
JC's an
You
idiot.
can't have orientation from stationary, no different than you can't have gas pressure without a container. Holy cow, dude.
I don't even understand what that means.
Me neither. That's what I'm asking. What's going on?
He's
He
saying
wants
that
us to prove non-movement. Really?
He said we're going to
Neil,
keep
you're pretty-
showing reality.
Did you hear
and
what
they will
Neil said?
eventually crumble because they're pushing nonsense. So you guys are pushing
Did you hear what
nonsense
Neil
here,
just
man.
said?
No.
Say again, Neil.
He wants us to prove non-movement. Are you kidding me?
We don't
Yeah.
have a positive claim here. Not us to us. It's not up to us to prove non-existence. You want me to prove the non-existence of movement that you say exists? No, you need to prove your base premise. Now, if they're saying they're going to do experimentation, oh right, what's the observed phenomena? That the Earth's moving up? No, that would be a begging the question fallacy.
Yeah, in
Like,
his
what does he
mind,
mean when he
he's
says you can't
begging
have
the question
orientation?
fallacy is just a
from stationary?
Hold
prerequisite.
on, just one sec, Liam. Mush then, Liam.
I'm just wondering, what does he mean when he says you can't have orientation from stationary?
Doesn't mean anything.
He's begging the question, his prerequisite of his prerequisite. There we go.
And you can't. It's like the two things are non-associated. A directionality of with vector and speed associated. You're like, okay, well, orientation with respect to upward rising Earth. What? And then associating that with gas pressure. You're like, what? These seem non sequitur. Like I say, the first time I heard it, it's like, this makes no sense.
Nope. He said also, just one more thing. He said, yeah, I used to believe in physical downward acceleration that can't be measured too, and period. And then the next sentence, then I lost my virginity.
That makes no sense. Those two things are non sequitur. So, okay,
Okay,
you
thank
used to
you, 'cause I
believe
thought
in
it was really something wrong
downwards.
with-
You used to believe in measured downward bias. Looks up at clouds, talks about gas behavior. You know, so what? What? But now you believe the opposite of the nonsense that was wrong that you used to believe in. How very interesting. Who cares? What are you
Right, as
observing?
soon as Nathan said, hold on. As soon as Nathan said,
hold on, Neil.
freaking Dell,
Hold on, Neil.
what about the
Neil?
clouds?
Oh God, he won't yield. Liam, then
Sorry.
Neil. If Mush is finished.
No, I just said, like, can
I've
you
got my
tie
point,
that to the
go, Neil.
next sentence? He said, then I lost my virginity. Like, what?
Go ahead, Liam.
I just don't get it,
I've
man.
got my point. Go ahead, Neil.
Go ahead, Neil.
Yeah, he lost his virginity. He lost his virginity to Dell. What a guy. Anyway, as soon as Nathan said to Dell, what about the clouds? The response was, never mind the clouds. Oh, now. And they're not getting me to bite.
I guess no motion equals no orientation. It's that simple.
So if your
I don't know, man.
non-positive claim isn't proven, we don't have orientation. That's garbage. Okay, I mean, you can believe that all you like. That's very useful.
Yeah.
Does this have a practical use? Does this have something that we can utilize in our everyday existence that might actually benefit us? No. It's a baseless, non sequitur assertion without any positivity of the original claim of Earth moving up. Just prove it moves up. That's it. Show us it moving up. You can't. What, are you going to infer it from a parlor trick? Yeah, we've done this dance. Dickheads. Never mind the clouds. Yeah, we're done here, thanks.
Wow, one last one, guys. He said, the only begging the question here is you begging the question that you're stationary because you don't experience motion.
But you can't beg the
Really?
question of non-existence. What the hell?
He says, meanwhile,
No,
you
listen to what
experience
he
your
said.
weight which is Neil. Hold on 1 second, bro. I'm just finish this sentence.
Yeah, but I
and
want
say,
you to repeat
Meanwhile,
that.
you experience your weight. All right, I'm done.
Can you just start from the beginning? I think is Neil's asking you. You wanted to hear the first bit again. Can you just read it in its entirety? Sorry, Mush.
Yeah, he said the only begging the question here is you begging the question that you're stationary because you don't experience motion. He continues, meanwhile, you experience your weight, which is probably, he misspelled, probably and demonstrably resistance to motion. Your experience is rooted in an ignorance of basic mechanics, and you don't get to project that ignorance onto me and shift the burden of proof.
Yeah, it's projection. He's shifting the burden of proof onto us to prove non-existence, whilst making an assertion that we feel weight. Really? What about your farts? Are they resisting the acceleration of Earth going up as they spread out into your house, letting everyone know how stinky and dirty you are? I'm thinking no. Never mind the farts.
Well, orientation requires a compass or a plane of reference. So they're just obfuscating from the flat earth proof. I don't get it.
Orientation requires a horizontal plane of reference.
But it's very sweet that you would see us as the standard to overcome. What with us defeating your arguments previously. Yes, we would stand in the way of anybody falling in line with your nonsense garbage based on parlor tricks. How sweet.
Meanwhile, Earth's flat.
Yeah, you don't have to say flat and stationary. It's redundant. You have to prove that it's not a unicorn. Flat, unicorn, non-unicorn, and stationary. Why are you saying non-unicorn? Well, it's not a unicorn. Definitely not. Why would you say that it's not a unicorn? Because it isn't. Why are you saying it's not moving? Because it isn't. Okay. That's a non-positive claim there.
My shirt is black, Nut.
Yeah, what shirt you got on? Well, not a black one. Well, okay. Don't need to tell me what it isn't. Yeah, you don't define things by what they're not. You don't define Earth as not moving. The only reason they have to declare that in NASA documents and aviation documents is because there's a belief instilled in people from a very early age that they are moving, that the surface that they're standing on is moving. So when you come to actually functionally deal with the ground, you need to make a point of telling them that it isn't, because they might be under the deluded misapprehension that it is. So you have to point that out, that non-positive claim. Oh, I don't have that. I don't have that issue. I'm not telling my pilots. Oh, by the way, the bullshit we trained you in when you were a tiny little child, you need to ignore that shit, because we're not moving. Okay? Is that clear? Yes, sir. I got it. The bullshit you told us when we were a child doesn't apply here. We aren't moving. Gotcha. Had you have not told me that we were, I wouldn't concern myself with it, but thank you for reminding me that we're not doing the thing you told me we were doing when I was a child. Thank you very much.
I was thinking earlier, the grass is quite green at the minute for flat Earth. It's been a great year so far. Earth measured flat. We've had the pitch data. We might have 10 man returning with something else. We've got video after video being put out to review. We've got December's fraud to look forward to. There's so much going on.
Yeah, with a flat Earth hat on, everything's fantastic at the moment. Different story with a YouTube hat on, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, but even with your YouTube hat on, you're having more YouTubers responding to you this year than a few years combined.
Yeah, that's not keeping the lights on, unfortunately. YouTube responses. I'd rather have the views. That's the only reason I'm making videos and sending people their way, to try and garner more views. That's the point of it. Is it working? No. Are they suddenly propping me up with extra subscribers, giving me footfall because they're sticking links in and doing responses? No. If they do a response, chances are they won't put a link. There's no actual reference or way of finding me. And if you try and find me because you just heard the YouTuber say my name, then you'll encounter the YouTube censorship bots that will shove me to the bottom of the list and distract you with a million other things before you find your way to me, just because you've heard my name mentioned. But from a YouTube point of view, it's just very, very bad at the moment. I mean, I don't want to moan about it too much. Like I've said on the last couple of shows, I've praised the people around me for responding to my e-begging. But, you know, it is literally the case that I now depend on that e-begging more often than not, because if it has a direct effect on my revenue. If YouTube are going, oh no, they're a bit too close to the target, we better censor them some more. You go, all right, well, yeah, okay, that's good for the government control that they need to have over the religious belief of heliocentrism. It's just very bad for my back pocket.
Hint, hint, listeners.
No, I'm not hinting at anything. I've done my e-begging. I did it yesterday, you know, and I've moaned about my breaks today, but I haven't done it. I don't want to overtly and over-the-top e-beg constantly. Yeah? You do your little call to action, people sometimes and respond to it, sometimes they don't. But that's not what the show's about. You know, that's why I try and split it up into having two hats. Because if it's like, that's the reason they do it. Because then my focus does go on to that rather than look how wonderful things are in flat Earth at the moment. But those two things directly contrast each other, it seems. If we're doing well in flat Earth in the argumentation, then I'll do bad in the YouTube algorithm. If we're being humiliated and looking awful, then they'll promote me. Or at least allow my subscribers to see me in the subscription feed or something, you know, the stranglehold released a little bit. That's how it seems to swing. But, you know, that's my lot in life. It's been this way for a long time. I could be making videos about PCs. Although he's not here at the moment.
Say again.
Craig wants to become a YouTuber, right? Which, obviously, I can't not take as a compliment. But when he's telling me about his aspirations for doing essentially what I do, albeit with different subject matters, you're like, okay, well, you're earning a decent living, you've got a business that you've built up, a successful one, and you want to do what I do. And you go, yeah, most of the population dream of being a YouTuber. Not most of the population, a good chunk of the population, especially kids. You ask them, what do you want to do? Where I would have said astronaut when I was a kid, they say YouTuber. You're like, okay, so it's a very desirable job to be in, especially if you're earning money from it, as in sustaining a living. Well, while I scrape by, I'm still sustaining myself, admittedly with lots and lots of ancillary help from people who genuinely have the same passion I do for the subject. But that is a privileged position to be in and is envied by even people who are earning good money. So it's one of those, you have to kind of balance it. I know I'm in a privileged position, just not financially.
This time next year, you'll be a millionaire.
Right, Del boy? Oh no, Brian's here now. Hey, Brian.
Here's a true Dale boy.
No.
How's it going?
Going okay. How are you? How's everyone?
Yeah, good.
Thanks for commenting on Jay's comment, Brian. He might shout your channel out.
I don't know if he even commented, if he replied or anything. God, that guy, I only listened to half of yesterday's live show. Wow, that guy's pretty stupid. Huh?
Nobody liked it, by the way. Judging by the commenters, the people who actually responded in respect to whether or not they enjoyed the show based on the guest that was being responded to, many of them didn't. As in, this guy's just too low down the pecking order for it to be enjoyable as an audience member. That was the general sentiment. As in, yeah, come on, there is a standard. Don't go too low. And when you're dealing with people who are that thick, the audience did not like that. And the fact that he was quite crass.
Sorry.
I mean, they often criticise me for this, which is why I put it second, but he was quite crass.
Yeah, well, that was one of the things about him. You're often not like that. He's vulgar. Or you are not vulgar when you're there with so much. But you have substance to what you're saying. He doesn't have any substance. He's just arrogant. And he's got nothing. He's just your typical, I don't know anything and I just hate these people and I'm just going to parrot nonsense that I can't support and say things that aren't true and misunderstand the things I am claiming and then hope that it somehow means something. You know what I mean? That's all he is. He's one of those people.
Yeah, smart-ass Dunning-Kruger. He asked me why things go down in his comments. Or my comments, I forget which. Someone posted it to me and I did respond to it. And its context was, why do things go down? I'm giving you a chance to have your say before I make my response video. I'm like, you, is this for real? And then it suddenly dawned on me why people were like, why are you dealing with people of this stature mentally? You shouldn't be. If you're going to wrestle with pigs, then you're going to get dirty. So, what we're going to get back from him? Well, Dunning-Kruger, we're going to get more of the same, aren't we? So I then have to see the silver lining and go, what can I use this for? How is this useful? I've already said this to the panel once, but if he does come back with what I think he'll come back with, gas go down, go boom boom, then his use is to juxtapose him with Thunderfoot. Right? Thunderfoot's as dumb as this self-confessed ignoramus with his zero research, spewing nonsense. Gas go down, go boom boom's his standard and PhD clown Thunderfoot standard. What an interesting coincidence.
Yeah, an ignoramus is a good term for him because that's really all he is. An arrogant ignoramus. He holds no real value in any way, shape, or form, does he?
It's that arrogance that I've heard Dunning-Kruger defined with more often than not. Like the guy that's like, yeah, I breezed the exam, no worries. And didn't even need to do any research. Didn't even need to do any homework. Didn't need to do any swatting up before it. I completely aced it. Off he goes to go surfing. Next man, I don't know how I did. I mean, I just crammed. I did so much research. It seems like one thing's pushed the other out. I have no idea if I've done well. Probably not. Who's getting the better result? Well, the one that actually did the research and studied and is concerned that they might not have done as well as they hoped. The one that's like, I didn't need to study, I'll do fine. That's Dunning-Kruger.
There's something I heard on, a good example of this, on Candace Owens. I hadn't heard of this before, but she had a guest on, and he was referring to this exact effect amongst the claim to be educated in America, where they were asked, the younger Americans were asked, do you think that you're good at maths? And nearly 5% of them said, yeah, I'm absolutely ace at maths, right? And they asked the same question to the South Koreans, right? Do you think you're good at maths? And only 23% of them said, well, yeah, I'm good at maths. But the rest of them said they weren't. But the South Koreans in general, of the same age group, had way higher maths than the Americans of that age group. So, if you know what I mean, so that is a classic case of Dunning-Kruger. Like the American kids or whatever at the time, or young people or whatever, they were presuming that they were brilliant at maths because they were being told they were brilliant at maths. Whereas the Koreans weren't being told they were brilliant at maths. They were told they were only fairly okay, whereas they actually were better than the American kids.
Yeah, the Bible speaks of this, doesn't it? Pride comes before a fall.
That's exactly what the Bible says.
Yeah, it's just a summary of Dunning-Kruger, though, isn't it? Yeah, although we mocked you for it, Brian, there's a certain level of confidence that comes along with actually knowing stuff. Now, you don't get it initially. You get it with demonstrations based on your own competence that affirm that you actually do know what you're talking about. You've learned it, you've comprehended it, you've put it out to somebody else. You know, there's going to be a stage that you recognize your own ability. Now, when you're like, well, I do deserve riches and such like, Brian, the other day, and you lent into it, which was the right thing to do. Notice how that's disappeared? It's because you lent into it. Very wise. But you're right to do that. You start off as the upstart 10 years ago. Then you become, that guy that we're familiar with that, yeah, he talks about flat. 10 years in, you're the guru, Brian. And to be that guru, you have to have a certain amount of self-confidence.
Yeah, people can say what they want about me saying that what I said. What I said was, I won't go into exactly what I said because I can't remember it exactly.
It's not relevant.
The sentiment was, no, leave me finish. As you brought it up, now leave me defend myself. The sentiment was that I wanted something good and I deserved it, basically, and that was that. I deserved it because of XYZ reason, whatever, right? Now, why did I learn all the things I learned? And why do I continue to learn? Because I don't presume to know it. I don't presume that just any old answer from Google is going to be the answer. I don't, that kind of thing, where you will have people on the ball side who just throw out an answer arrogantly and presume, that is all that's necessary without actually looking into. And often a time, I'd have to actually figure something out myself because the answer you're getting from mainstream media is obviously wrong, right? So I might come across as arrogant sometimes, but that's actually not arrogance; it's confidence, because I start off from a position of understanding I don't know. You know what I mean? But when I'm speaking that way, I'm doing it. It's strategic, right? It's strategic because I'm letting the ballers know how much confidence I actually have. So even if flat earthers don't like what I say in that way, sometimes I might say, hey, he's being arrogant. No, I'm letting the ballers know that I can speak that way and I can back it up. Whereas they can speak that way, but they can't back it up. So it's strategic why I do that. It's not for a pat in the back, and it's not arrogance.
No, fair enough. And it's not unjustified.
But that's the point. The point is that like I was speaking about basically a whole accumulation of stuff I've done for the best part of 10 years. It's like, yeah, I want some payment for that. You know what I mean? I like, it's a bit like when a university, or something hosts Jordan Peterson, and he's supposed to be this big expert on whatever nonsense he's supposed to be an expert on. And he's paid loads of money to be at the university and give the lecture and blah, blah, blah. But they'd expect me to turn up for nothing. Like, no. I know what I'm talking about in my topic and my subject. So you're not going to have me turn up and pay me nothing. When you paid Jordan Peterson last week thousands. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, we need some recognition here. And if flat earthers see that as arrogant, then they're shooting themselves in the foot. Because they need to realise their own worth. You understand?
They pay people for popularity, not the information they provide.
What made Jordan Peterson popular?
He wrote a stupid book.
Which was what? What was in the book?
Some
Information. Information.
No, it was just a bit of his ideas. That was all.
It doesn't matter. He didn't become popular because he didn't become popular because he can do handstands.
There was no factual information in that book. It was all supposition.
Yeah, but people see him as an intellectual. See, there you go. You are now, right, going against me when you should be going with me. You don't see where you're shooting yourself in your own foot.
No, you're offering information based on your experience. He's just surmising some information that he thinks people will like, and he puts it in a way people did like.
Yeah, but so is he. He's offering information, what he sees as information, and other people see as information. He's doing the same thing, except for his information is more subjective.
Yeah, but your information
that doesn't change.
Your information's factual and based on the fact. People don't want fact; they want fantasy. We've talked about this before.
It doesn't matter what they want. Don't see. You're missing the point. That's the problem. Your attitude is the problem. It doesn't matter what they want, right? If they're going to pay Jordan Peterson to do a lecture or to turn up at for some event or something, then why shouldn't I get paid? If it's based on the topic that I'm an expert in, just like if Jordan Peterson is a claimed expert in whatever subjective topic he's in. You know what I mean? You degrade your own worth in that way.
I'm not degrading anything. I would support your work. I think what you say is factually correct, but it's not got bells and whistles, and people like fantasy more than fact.
So,
hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Will you accept? No, there isn't.
Well, I was expecting, will you accept a flat Earth measurement of an angle, perhaps?
Yeah, but that wouldn't be a distance to the sun.
Yeah, but you can extrapolate that out through heliocentric motion. I mean, what are Kepler and Huygens useful for other than giving you distances based on those scales?
Eric Dubay had a video where he suggested the distance to the sun is 2,039 miles.
Can't get a distance to the sun. He's extrapolated that out with an angle, with several angles actually, but the use of an angle is negated by the way the stars and sun appear to us. Right? You don't get a difference in angle at elevation. And as the sun moves over a different part of the land, that angle will decrease. But it's decreasing in angle towards the horizon. Does that mean it's going to eventually reach a height of 0? If you're using angles, the inference is that when it hits the horizon, it physically hits it because it's at 0. No, you can't utilize an angle inference for the height of any celestial item. One of the base principles we utilize for navigation is the fact that they don't change their angle with altitude.
So the first problem with any claim distance to the sun, if you're going to try and claim that you can measure a distance or think you're going to measure a distance, is you've got to pre-assume that it's something tangible that is in basically a position in 3-dimensional space. You know what I mean? But you can't do that. You don't know what it is to try and measure a distance to it. You don't know what it is, what it's composed of, or how it does what it does.
Does everyone sorry,
know-
just want to back you up. Does everyone know what tangible means?
Viable?
No. Tangible means you can.
Physical.
No.
Measure.
Physically touch.
It means you can touch it.
Touch it.
Yep. Means you can touch it. That's what tangible means. Right? The sun is not tangible. We know its position with respect to the ground, and we can measure our angle and derive that positional data off a flat Earth. Let's not forget that. But that
it is
doesn't
physical.
mean we get height from those angles. We can't. And if we could, what would it be useful for? Nothing.
It is physical, though, correct?
One more time, Neil.
It is physical. It's just not tangible.
How do you know it's
Light is
physical?
physical.
Hold on, prove it.
Yeah.
I see it.
Okay.
Okay.
So shadows are physical, are they? Is a shadow physical? Give me the weight of a shadow.
Is the light from the sun
Give me the.
physical?
Hold on. Give me the weight of a shadow. You see it, right? It's physical, right? Give me the weight of it. How much electrical charge does a shadow hold?
Not physical either. Then the height is not physical either.
Just breaking up, Neil. This is not a good conversation anymore.
They're not tangible, but they are physical.
It's not a good conversation because you can't hear me telling you that you're breaking up. The sun is not tangible. Now, what we utilize is its ground position. That's useful. We do not need its height. That is not useful. Why would we, or in this case Eric Debay, be asserting height? Well, as a contrapositive assertion that isn't necessary when our opponents say they do have a height, derived from flat plane measurements of angles, inferences of sphericity, further inferences of elliptical orbital motion, and a final inference of Venus having the same derived radial value for its sphericity as Earth's assumed sphericity. That is what you need to give a distance to the sun in heliocentrism. We have no need for this information. We are not asserting it, and we have no need to assert it.
Yeah. Can I
You
just say
couldn't get
something there?
height anyway. Sorry, you go ahead.
Let's get some order. Adam, then Brian.
I was going to say you couldn't get a height anyway, because the word altitude in the case of celestial navigation is a special case, which just means an angle to the celestial from the flat, and not a height at all.
Yeah, but the reason they say that is because they can't actually gain an actual height to the celestial bodies. Because all angular heights are only apparent. But
Yeah.
the angular height to a mountain, the mountain does have an actual height that you can measure. You can't do that with the celestial
You missed what
body.
Adam said. So Adam's saying that an elevation angle with respect to celestial navigation, right, Adam, is a special type of angle. And it's an angle measurement to the celestial item with respect to a flat plane. It is not the height of the item. That's what he's saying. You're saying, well, you can still take angle measurements to a lighthouse and derive its height. Yes, you can.
No, you missed what I said. No. Point I'm making is, yeah, the reason that they claim it's not a height in feet and meters to the celestial body is because they can't measure a height in feet and meters to the celestial body. Now, it's an apparent height, but every angular height is an apparent height. It's not the actual height. The difference being is that you can gain the actual height to a mountain off a flat plane, but you can't do that with a celestial body. It's always only apparent. There's never an actual. That's my point. The reason they say what Adam just said, the reason they claim what Adam just said, is because you can't do within a celestial body what you can do with a mountain.
Okay. I want to drop something
And
in.
just to correct Neil, sorry, just because Neil said
I was
something.
going to move on anyway.
Yeah, So I'll only be a second. Right? No, light is still physical because light interacts and can affect things. Right? Shadows. What effect does a shadow have? For instance,
And
right,
how much
on
does it
things?
weigh?
How much does it weigh? But we're talking about the sun. Just because the sun produces, from our point of view, light, and we get light from the sun, does that mean the sun is light?
I don't know what the sun is.
Yeah, that's the problem. So you can't say it's physical. You can't say it's tangible. Really, can you?
It might
Go on,
be.
Nathan, sorry.
I wouldn't argue that it wasn't, though. So this is a sticky wicket if you get to a certain point and you're unaware that you can't defend a positive claim, but you also can't decry it. So I would challenge someone who says it isn't physical. Okay, how do you know it isn't physical? Well, they can't prove that either. The only position you can take is twofold. One, you know where it's above. Okay, that's what you do know. And then beyond that, you have to say, I don't know. That's the only reasonable position to take when it comes to these items. Because, why, obviously, you don't know. Now, you do know where it's above at a given time because we've tracked it. We've written it down and we know the patterns. Now, some of those patterns have actually come to pass because of the very smart mathematicians of the Roman Catholic Church, who gave us a derived heliocentric model from flat Earth elevation angles. Useful for better predicting where those stars may be in a unified system. Not reifiable into the world you actually stand on, but giving us a better understanding within our very grossly simplified calendar, which is all you want as the general public who want to know when, I don't know, Easter's going to be. And that's what these systems have been put in place for. Now, the fact that these mathematical systems have turned into paradigms that people believe in and reify doesn't alter the fact that we have got the origin measurements from a flat plane. They're just angles. They just won't give you height. That's it.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you there on something, right? I think you bring this up a lot concerning the Catholic Church and the Kepler and them, right? No, that's a story we're given, right? That's all that is.
Okay, you want
testimony? Hang on, I have testimony from a lady in her 70s who has been an astrologer for over 50 years, and when she started treating everything like it's flat, right, everything made more sense and everything became easier. Now, she has to know astronomy to do, like, astronomy is part of astrology, right? Everything is easier when you treat it as flat. Astronomers treat everything as flat and stationary, regardless of what nonsense they try and tell you. The vernal equinox, everything is treated as a massive, it's really like the celestials are moving around a massive stationary plane, right? If it was easier on a globe, then we wouldn't need the massive stationary plane. No, that's nonsense that they're trying to push.
I don't mind putting disclaimers in if you want me to disclaim as we are told or as we are led to believe. I don't mind putting them in because you're absolutely right. I have no way of... What I think verifies this stuff is loose at best, is second-hand at best. In terms of primary source, it's sparse at best. So you're right. I can't really disagree with you, can I?
Well, the book you're referring to that was shared with you by Dr. John Dee, if I remember correctly, that book is written by somebody who just believes the Earth is a globe and doesn't know anything about anything else.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They haven't researched like we've researched. Their research can only go so far because it's based within their own paradigm.
I don't disagree. Again, I can't disagree with you. I can I've had this. It's just chance, actually. I might have been arguing with you, but for the fact that Adam broke some of this down about a week ago in a conversation that went on to about 2 a.m. But in terms of what we're given and how the history, I've always vaguely understood this because of my own failings when I've done my own research. You know where you draw a dead end and you've got to then square that circle and move on to the next thing without having resolved it. Well, when Adam is sort of explaining that, no, there's been lots of gerrymandering in that regard, the structures of the timelines, the numbering systems of the timelines, all of these things have been subtly altered over time. I wish I'd written it down, on I think it was SciShow, right? One of my kids the eldest watches SciShow, and she gets it via my YouTube channel, so we'll bring it up and stick it in front of it or whatever. So I still get these recommendations. and one of the videos came up, and they described a time period with 2 letters after the time period, which I'd have typically heard of as referred to as BC or before Christ, and there was 2 different letters that I was unfamiliar with ascribed in this video to a time period, and I'm like, I've never heard it reference that. I wish I'd written it down, but I'm thinking, yeah, it only stuck in my mind. It had completely gone over my head, and I'd have paid it no never mind if it wasn't for the fact that I'd had this conversation with Adam previously, and the same applies here with you. You're like, when you appreciate the gerrymandering of the timelines and the distortions that have come throughout history, you go, can I rely on what I'm talking about when I go back beyond 100 years? And even then, the distortions within the 100 years. Often, the baby truthers are out there pointing them out as they happen and getting their YouTube channels removed. You know what I mean? So, how can I rely on any of it? Quick shout out to who was it? Sensual Goat. Oh, Sensual Goat, you're here. Says, do you still need a membership, Neil? I can gift you one if you spam the chat. You're trying to get my goat, Sensual Goat.
I'm trying to get Neil a membership.
Yeah, I told him off the other day because he was in the chat as a moderator, spamming the chat, waiting for a free membership to come his way. I'm like, oh, God. And you're encouraging him. Spam the chat now, moderator. It's like he's supposed to be discouraging people from doing that. He's in there doing it himself. And you're now encouraging him. Anyway, thank you for the support, though. We've got a video to cover today. It's not as long as we would typically cover, which is good, because we typically take ages over them. And the video is by Survival Dispatch, who are a relatively large YouTuber. But as is always the case, large or small, please let the videographer know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, with a polite comment that alludes to the fact that we have covered their video. Please don't swear. Please don't demean them about whatever it is that we cover today. Just let them know that we've covered them. The idea being that if they were to do a response video, they'd do the same for me. They'd put a link to my video. Sharing the YouTube algorithmic love that we definitely do not receive from YouTube themselves. Let's just say hello to Chocolate. Hello, Chocolate.
Morning.
Morning. So yeah, as you can probably see on the live stream now, the link to this videographer is going by now. So I positively encourage all of you, 72 people watching currently, to actually do click the link and do it while I'm doing this call to action, which will repeat itself multiple times in the time period that you're out there just leaving a quick comment. And just an ampersand or whatever it's called, not ampersand, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, all one word, so they can literally link directly to the channel from that comment. And it's YouTube friendly. That's how they want you to mention other YouTube videographers, in case anyone was unclear. Because a few people I've seen go and they all say, at Nathan space Oakley space 1980 sent me. You're like, no. You've got to actually put the at symbol followed by the YouTube channel name, which is Nathan Oakley 1980, all one word. Then it will link back to the channel. Yeah, that's the idea at least. But at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me so that, what they called again, Survival Dispatch, know that we've done a little response and they can hopefully learn something new or recognise our critique or enjoy our praise. As I don't know what we're going to be covering. This is completely new to me. I'm cold. This is a cold response. Who was it that shared this? Was it Mush? It wasn't. It was Liam. Essential. Do you want to fill us in on why we're covering this or what it is?
Yeah, sure. So this is 2 wholesome guys in America. They have a survival channel. And unfortunately for them, they've got a heliocentric pseudo-science priest on, and we're asking her questions about how they can use their survival tips in Narnia.
Survival tips in space?
Yes.
Oh, how joyous. Oh, this is going to be a right laugh. Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Anybody? Who is that? Go ahead.
Sorry, this is Duncan. Hello, mic check.
Yeah.
This
Hello,
is going to be
Duncan.
great.
What did you say? This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully that's bought enough time for a few of my audience. Price of Adam says I've put at Nathan Oakley 1980 all one word. You see how it appears in red? Right, that's because it's YouTube friendly. YouTube like the way you've presented this, right? It's the same as my channel. I don't know if you can see that from the chat I'm circling it. Yes, you can. Sometimes I've set the OBS to not show my mouse, but in this instance you can. So yeah, that's the format that once you click on that, it'll take you to my channel. I'm not going to do it because I want to cover this video. Anyway, anybody else know this channel? Familiar with them? Unfamiliar with them? Got any comment on it before we start?
Gotta say, man, it's a hell of a hustle. Let me give out survival tips to a place that I've never been to, that no one could ever go to, and you guys could pay me for it. What a hustle, man.
I don't know if he's got any space merchandise that he's selling, so it might not be a hustle. It's just like content in it. But I suppose you're taking people's time and it's being monetized with ads. So I don't know if that's pretty
No, the
loose
two
chocolate.
guys are wholesome. She's the hustler, the pseudo-scientist.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't know who she is. So she's the moon advocate or space advocate, right? And he's the channel owner.
Rocket scientist.
Rocket scientist
Correct.
and channel owner. Beardy is the survival guy, obviously. Okay. Right, let's get into it then. Unless there's anything else anybody wants to add.
That our audience, people like me, with my intelligence level, is wondering, why haven't somebody in your community challenged these flat Earth people? Why haven't y'all made a movement to say, look, this is it. Here's the gavel. Gavel down. Stop.
Wow, straight off the cuff, what a fantastic question. Yeah, why aren't you just smashing us out of existence? Love. Good question, my friend. I already like this guy. Great question.
Because I want this video to go viral, because I know that you're going to be able to
Yeah, you just needed to stop talking, though.
provide the answer for me to tell the audience why the Earth is round and not flat.
Here's my gavel.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it right now.
Gavel is down. Flat earthers are nuts.
Sorry, would that be a grown woman using a personal attack and stereotyping an entire community as being insane, aka, quote, nuts? That's your response?
And maybe poisoning of the well also.
Yeah, poisoning the well fallacy, my dear. By telling me I'm nuts.
And that's her evidence of a sphere.
One more time.
That was her evidence of a sphere Earth.
Yeah, that's your opener. Why haven't you annihilated flat earthers? You're a rocket scientist. Why haven't you destroyed these people so they don't exist anymore? Because they're all nuts. Non sequitur much?
And there you have it. Flat earthers are nuts. But you were speaking earlier about trying.
Yeah, that was his version of, yeah, flat earthers nuts. But seriously.
Like, we've known for a long time that the Earth is actually round.
Yeah.
Have you? How did you know that? No, you were just told it. The inference comes from flat earth measurements.
Because if there are flat earthers that are going to be in the comment section, which I imagine they're going to be, they always bring up the laser thing. Like, if you...
Do we? We always bring up the laser thing. On the contrary. No, we don't. No, you know, idiots go out and try and prove that Earth's flat when we practically apply flat Earth measurements to our everyday lives. You know, going out and proving something that's already utilised in practical application is not something we would always appeal to. Definitely not. Go on, whoever that was.
Nah, he thinks it's still 2015. That's what it is.
Yeah, she's currently waving away the flat Earth spirits, if you look.
shoot a laser out far enough, it would be on the same plane. If you had the
same plane? What, like horizontal plane of reference? Yeah, you will have some YouTubers coming to your channel. Some commenters coming to your channel. I'll be sending them.
tennis ball that was full of water and you spun it at the rate that the Earth is spinning and around the sun and our solar system and how fast it's traveling, that the water would all just escape off of the tennis ball. Can you
Sorry, we'd need to know why your extrapolation from this concept would need explaining when the concept itself is Keplerian orbital motion, derived from flat Earth, and the plane of reference used for the angles. So, no, we don't need to explain things after the reification of a ball Earth in a sky vacuum based on Keplerian motion. Now, had you have researched the origins of your belief, Rather than just saying, we've known forever that we're on a ball. No, you don't know you're on a ball. If you knew where the ball came from, you'd know why it isn't a ball.
And can I point out once again, the very first thing he said was plain. So the very first thing is a flat Earth proof.
Yeah, got to have a flat Earth to make your globe claim.
Have these little examples that they always bring up.
Well, also say.
What idiot flirfs bring up, not us. We point out the practical application of elevation angles to create the globe if you're going to reference the globe. Where'd you get your globe from? Flat Earth angle measurements to the stars? Yeah, you did, yeah. Did you have some other means of proving your globe beyond the measurements that it's originated in? Because if not, you've got a flat Earth proof on your hands if you're going to pretend that you're standing on the surface of this reified mathematical inference.
Hey, never underestimate the imagination of the human mind.
Okay.
Now, what does that have to do with anything? You're being asked why you're not annihilating us, love. And your answer to this is to tell us that you can't underestimate how imaginative people are. Okay. There's no imagination needed when you take flat Earth elevation angle measurements, like Kepler and all the other heliocentrists that created your reified fantasy world used. They all use flat Earth angle measurements. Sorry, did that need any imagination? Am I just imagining those measurements?
It's too complicated for someone.
The globe needs imagination, Nathan. She's projecting because everything they do is actual imagination with no evidence.
I was just going to say that too. Like for the past 10 years, who's been starting their arguments with, well, just imagine you're on a big ball. It's like, which side was that again? I'm sorry. Maybe I'm confused.
Yeah, they're in imagination fantasy land to exercise their beliefs.
Like us to understand, isn't it?
I think anybody can think up anything and make it real for them.
That's frickin' profound. You're a rocket scientist, and you're being asked based on that accreditation why you have not annihilated us. Now we know why, don't you? Because this drivel could be offered by anybody. Your accreditation doesn't help you when you suggest that we're nuts, or that people have got good imagination. Tom, Dick and Harry could have offered that from the street, love. You're being asked the question because you're a rocket scientist. Oxymoron.
Themselves, and they can come up with experiments.
Sorry, what was referred to that was experimental when you talk about laser tests? Are you about to demonstrate your lack of understanding of the scientific method? I'm suspecting yes. She's about to condemn her own understanding of a credited field if she's a rocket, quote, scientist. They can do experiments. He's just talked about firing lasers. I don't think there's going to be any naturally occurring phenomena in that, my love.
To try to justify their thesis.
Justify it, but don't really hold up to...
Oh, so you are referring to the laser tests. Those aren't experiments. And the fact that you're not decrying them as not being what you are accredited in means that you don't know that they're not doing experiments. You are the one who referred to them as such. That's a category error. No, they're parlour tricks. And definitely not practically applied to Earth in any way. Laser tests? Sorry, is somebody utilising this to do something? No, I'm thinking definitely not. Certainly not when they're firing it through little holes. But we do take elevation angles. We do take horizontal planes of reference. We do reference sea level for heights of things. We do utilise Earth as flat and measure it flat. Those aren't experiments either, by the way.
The scientific method. Our world is made up of being able to have an experiment, a hypothesis originally, followed by experiment, repeatability.
And what's that got to do with this subject? Why haven't you annihilated flat earthers? We've got the scientific method. Doesn't really help you when you're talking about the nature of Earth in terms of the aspect of flatness that we measure. That's not science. Where's the phenomena? This has got nothing to do with science. It's a category error.
Proving that something is correct or...
No. It's proving elucidation of cause when you observe natural phenomena. She doesn't know what science is. She just condemned herself. You don't know what science is. True or not? No. Cause and effect. Look it up.
Incorrect. Now, way back when, we don't have to get into the details of it, but let's.
Do you not? That's because you don't know them. Pretender clown, fraud, pretending that you're a scientist. Oh, I absolutely will focus on the detail of the scientific method that you just alluded to try and lend credence to your nonsensical assertion that this has anything to do with the subject of flat Earth. How Earth is measured. That'd be maths. Meanwhile, the scientific method is as follows. Step 1, observe natural phenomena. Something occurring in nature that you want to know the cause of. Step 2, formulate a supposition of a presumed cause of that effect. The suppositional cause must be real, must be capable of being varied by you, the researcher, and must be your independent variable in the hypothesis. The dependent variable being the observed phenomena at step 1. Step 3, actualize the hypothesis by way of variation of the suppositional causal influencer. That is to say, you vary that which you assume causes the effect and see if it does or not. If it does, you validate your alternative hypothesis, A causes B, and invalidate your null, zero difference result. A does not cause B, line through it, tick next to alternative. If you do not cause the effect with your suppositional cause of influence, then you validate your zero difference result, aka null hypothesis. A did not cause B. The method is empirical because only one of those two outcomes can be affirmed upon experimentation, that's hypothesis actualization, to validate and elucidate the cause of an effect. You either elucidate the cause, that's prove that it causes the effect, A causes B, or you do not. That is the method of science that offers empiricism when studying nature. She says it's not important because she doesn't know what it is and isn't using it. It can't be used when we talk about an aspect of the ground. That's not a phenomena.
Let's just say Egyptian times.
Okay.
One fella watched the motion of the sun across the sky and watched how the sun fell into a well. And
sorry, he watched how the sun fell into a well. Did I hallucinate her just saying that?
This must be the
No.
abridged version of Eratosthenes.
Eratosthenes is taking angles perpendicular to a plane of reference. If she's talking about the well at Cyan, that's perpendicular to a flat Earth. It's an elevation angle. So she's talking about a flat Earth angle measurement straight away.
one side of
but
Egypt.
she doesn't understand what that. Sorry.
Go ahead, Brian.
She doesn't understand. She doesn't understand anything about the Eratosthenes demonstration. Like the sun didn't fall into a well. It's nothing to do with it falling into a well. It's just
what is going on? Let's pretend for a moment, Brian. Let's just pretend for a minute that you are a highly skilled and proficient automotive engineer, and you've worked on F1 technology. You're so super skilled in that area, and I invite you on my show because I ask why there are banger races when F1 exists, right? And I ask you why there's banger races when F1 exists. And you give me an answer that describes the crucifixion. And you're like, your answer in regards to why you're not smashing out of existence the lemon races is to talk about something from 2,000 years ago. In this instance, hey, rocket scientists, skilled and proficient in going to outer space that isn't real, it violates the law of nature. Why is it that you haven't obliterated flat earthers? Let's talk about flat earth angles thousands of years ago. Do you think this is what you were there for, love? Did you miss the point in what you were there for? Did you think you needed to talk about flat earth elevation angle measurements in a well in Cyan? Is that what you're there for?
Yeah. What it is before I actually get to doing the thing that I'm supposed to be here to do, I'm actually going to prove that the Earth is flat from 2,000 years ago, and then I'm going to do the thing. It's like that's basically what she's doing, isn't it?
No. Before that, Brian, she has to spend a few minutes poisoning the well and category errors.
poisoning it with the sun falling into it.
This is the magic trick. When we point out how pseudoscience pretender clown frauds like this lady hijack the scientific method, in this case, she's so refined in her hijacking that she has literally said, science, the scientific method. What it is isn't important, but now I've said those words, you all know that the next thing out of my mouth is absolutely true. So let's talk about flat Earth elevation angles a couple of thousand years ago. Because science and the scientific method, which this definitely isn't, it's a flat Earth elevation angle, but science and the scientific method, not important what that is, it's just stealing valor. It's actually fraud.
Down at the south, rode his chariot as fast as he could up to the north side, tracked the time, saw how long, the distance it was,
God,
and
what a
how
long process this
how
took.
the sun fell into the well there, and said, "Oh."
See, she said it again. Sun fell into the well. No, love, you're talking about elevation angle measurements, sticks and shadows and wells, perpendicular to a plane of reference. Go on.
Sorry, she said, rode a chariot as fast as he could. Does she think that he travelled on a chariot 500 miles from Siam to Alexandria?
No, he used a pager. Or was it a fax machine? They did it a year later. She just doesn't know her own stupid story. The story is...
They lit the fires like in Lord of the Rings.
They did smoke
across the
signals. No, they did not. They did it at two different exact same time periods, 1 year apart at different locations. But she, in her stupid mind, thinks they got a flipping taxi. What, beat the sun? She just doesn't know the story herself.
Clarkson did it.
A taxi. One of the London taxis with a geezer driving.
That means the Earth has a curvature.
What? The sun fell into the well, therefore Earth's curved. You demented dingbat. You didn't even link it together in a non sequitur or fallacy. You just made a nonsensical statement that makes no sense and has no coherency, even fallacious coherency. Sorry, the sun fell into the well, therefore Earth's curved is what she's actually just said.
Yep, that's the point.
But you want to get yourself checked out, love? Because you're nuts. That made no coherent sense to anybody. Now, me, I know the story. Yeah, I understand how flat Earth elevation angle measurements won't be proving the curved surface when you're taking angles down a well or with a stick. They're elevation angles off a flat Earth. Now, the fact that they're 1 year apart and she doesn't understand the story, thinks he's got on a little chariot of fire and raced the sun, is just idiotic. But what she actually said was, the sun's down the well, therefore Earth's curved. That's what she's actually presented. What dingbat.
So he is able to calculate.
Well, sorry. When you say Eratosthenes got a cab, I mean, that sums it up. I mean, if this was... I didn't hear the start of who she was or what this is about because I was talking to someone. But she's obviously supposed to be some class of an expert. And she more or less stated that Eratosthenes got a yellow cab. Do you know what I mean? To Alexandria.
Uber.
He got a lift.
Yeah, lift off his friend.
No, LYFT. Oh, pressed the wrong button. Making me laugh, Brian.
How often do you get to sit?
I don't think it's in the world.
If you had the tennis ball that was full of water and you... And there you have it. Flat earthers are nuts. But you were speaking earlier, they're going to be at the rate that the earth is spinning and around the sun. Bring up.
We'll also say, never underestimate. Justify it, but don't really hold up to the hypothesis originally. Way back when, we don't have to get into the details of it, but let's just say Egyptian times.
Yeah, I did cover
one
them, didn't
fella
I covered
rode
the
his
scientific
chariot
method.
as fast as he could up to the north side, tracked the time, saw how long, the distance it was,
God,
and
what
how
a long process this
how
took.
the sun fell into the well there, and said, "Oh, that means the Earth has a curvature."
Of course, obvious. Based on your description, I follow along perfectly.
So he is able to calculate the whole entire
Based on
circumference
science.
of the Earth by observation that was completely repeatable time after time.
You see, it would almost seem like observation that is repeatable when she describes going as fast as he can to a different location and checking his wristwatch. Yeah, love. Okay, fine. Yeah, you don't understand your own story, but you've now made it seem, because you're a fraud, like that was an adherence to the scientific method. They made an observation and it was repeatable. Well, if that was the scientific method, if I close my eyes and open them again, is that the satisfaction of the method? It was an observation and I blinked. I repeated it. You utter clown. But she knows she's a fraud, doesn't she? Because she made it clear that it wasn't important what the scientific method was, to then allude to having repeated observation fulfill the method. You're just a scammer. Yeah, stealing valor from the method that you haven't fulfilled. By the way, is this rocket scientist stuff that you're disseminating to this gentleman when you tell him about the method of science that isn't your actual field from a couple of thousand years ago with flat Earth elevation angle measurements that aren't science, actually adhering to the scientific method because you in some batshit crazy made a non sequitur about that meaning Earth being curved without describing why or how? 103 people watching. Please share the show.
I know. I think actually you're actually attacking her a bit too hard. She's obviously an idiot, right? Because what she's actually said was, if you observe the sun twice in one day, it's a globe.
And it falls down.
So
And
you see the
no,
first
you
point
missed the
today,
fundamental
it's a
part of
globe.
it falling down a well.
Well, you may not have a well for it to fall into, but if you observe it twice, that's all you need to do. Globe proven.
Time after time, there was no weird explanation of, well, this time it didn't work because of that, or there's this interfering, confounding object, or this kind of thing in the atmosphere.
Right, Atmo, what now? Air doesn't take the shape of a sphere, my darling. That's...
You crazy bat.
What are you
I
talking
need
about?
more protection.
So do you have sphere-shaped farts come out of you, my darling? Or do they disperse into the area of volume that they have available to them? I'm pretty sure your farts disperse like everybody else. Maybe you think you've got sphere-shaped farts. Gases don't do that. You don't have sphere-shaped air. Atmo, that's air. Sphere, that's a shape. Gases fill whatever volume they have available to them, regardless of its shape. They'll take the shape of the container because that's the restriction, the thing that they'll be pressing on to form pressure. You think you have an oxymoronic sphere-shaped atmo? No. Prior to that word, what you actually had to offer was a string of stuttery waffle that made absolutely no sense to anybody. Meaningless drivel.
Whatever
it was
kind of
it was very meaningful because what she was doing was projecting her mitigation, because that's what she was doing.
Oh,
Saying,
yeah?
oh, they just come up with this, and they just say that. Oh, this didn't work. That's what you guys do, not us. Sorry, lady.
I beg to differ. Rewound 10 seconds. You make some coherent sense out of this 10 seconds of statements from her.
time it didn't work because of that, or there's this
Time it didn't work because of that.
interfering, confounding object, or
Because of compounding objects. Time it didn't work because of that. Compounding objects. Do you want to just rethink your position there, Chocolate? That made absolutely no sense, did it? Let's listen on.
or this kind of
What
thing
she's,
in the atmosphere.
sorry.
No, go ahead.
What she's trying to say is that every time they measured an elevation angle, you know what I mean? It worked every time. And that is a science experiment repeated every time.
You got that
That's
from this.
A weird explanation of, well, this time it didn't work because of that, or there's this interfering, confounding object, or this kind of thing in the atmosphere.
You got that from that, did you, Brian? Wow, well, you're a better man than I.
Whatever kind of business you might want to say could interfere with it is repeatable time after time.
That was pure gibberish. Pure gibberish. Wasn't it?
So we've known.
Yeah, look,
That's the whole point. The point is it's supposed to be gibberish because, like she's doing, she's saying, "Oh, they come up with this and come up with that." That's what I hear. Anyway, I could be wrong, but my opinion is that's what I hear. I hear her coming up with mitigation and putting that on us.
Yeah, this is like my nan trying to defend heliocentrism.
Thousands and thousands of years that the Earth is round.
Thousands.
But the only sentence that had any coherency was a baseless assertion based on flat Earth measurements that she's exampled to this point. Okay. Sorry, your baseless assertion was back with flat Earth elevation angles that you described as sun falling in a well?
Thousands of years we've known the Earth is round.
You've never known.
Dr. Jackie, thank you so much for coming to our event and bushcrafting with us. And we've even
Is that it?
Are you serious? That got a round of applause? Oh, well done, love. I mean, I'm so much clearer on the rocket science that you were brought to tell us how you obliterated flat earthers with. I'm just so glad you came.
I don't know about you, but I am ready to go to Mars. I'm prepped and ready after that.
Is there any more to this video, Liam?
Well, she talks about possibilities on Mars at the 6-minute mark. It's up to you. It's a bit of waffle. It's a bit of fun. Whether it's up to you or not.
A small test case, a little Martian greenhouse that's automated that you can send on a bigger spacecraft.
Let me get it straight. You're suggesting that you send a container to Mars so that you can generate warmth by way of the greenhouse effect that would require containment to achieve it. Talk about the rhetoric pissing down your back and telling you it's raining. We're going to need to take containers to this light in the sky. Why? So we can achieve the greenhouse effect. Oh, right, yeah, of course. So we can grow vegetables and stuff. How does Earth achieve heat? Maybe Brian would have some words to say on this.
Well, you can't have temperature without containment, because for temperature you need air at pressure for the majority of temperature. You could have radiative heat, but you couldn't have a radiative heat buildup. You could have conductive heat, but there'd be nothing for it to conduct to. There's nothing that exists. There wouldn't be any gas. So for temperature, as we experience it in the world, you need a container. There's no way around that.
But why don't they just ship up a load of gravity? Send the bending space-time up to Mars, right?
Ship up a load of gravity. Well, pack it into a container.
Oh, no, she appreciates that in order to have a greenhouse effect, you need a frigging greenhouse. Yeah, Earth doesn't have that, though, does it, in your heliocentric sky vacuum world of gas pressure next to a vacuum? Not dissipating in line with entropic dispersion laws? That would be entropy? Yeah, you're saying you need to send greenhouses to a place that, maintains atmospheric pressure to a very small degree that will allow parachutes to open, but it has absolutely no containment. You can freely enter and leave via a rocket that's carrying a greenhouse. Yeah, you're pissing in the world's face with this nonsense.
Okay. We call it a test bed in the NASA world,
Y'all
in the
writing this down?
NASA parlance. And take some of that Martian soil, put it into the test bed Martian greenhouse.
So the soil on the light in the sky, isn't soil typically on the ground? Isn't that normally where we get soil from? This batshit insane woman seems to think that we go to the sky to get soil. Is that where we normally get soil from? How many of you on the panel have ever got soil from the sky?
I generally don't get soil from lights.
No.
Put some LED light on it, grow some plants, and start to see what we get, how it works, what the stresses are.
I vote for potatoes.
Potatoes,
yes.
I think we understand potatoes. I think we've seen the movie The Martian. Great example. Growing potatoes.
I have so many questions.
Potatoes worked really well. So I think we can then do that, but now we have some people don't like it, to eat it, genetically modified organisms, okay, food and such. But I think we can use some of that new technology they call CRISPR technology to gene splice this and that, and make some plants that will help us to make plants that create more compounds that'll help us terraform Mars.
Terraform? What, like create a breathable atmosphere under containment? That sort of terraforming. How did Earth become terraformed? How did we manage to achieve gas pressure here on Earth? What with this being in a sky vacuum? Like, just walk us through it. You know, the first gas particle gets created on the ground, departs the surface in a given vector. How does that develop pressure? Like, so that we can consider this process terraforming. Yeah? You want to explain that to us? Because I'm pretty certain that once that gas particle departs the ground that it's been created on, it's going to sod off into the sky vacuum that you think the sky is and never return. In other words, in your paradigm of a heliocentric ball Earth in a sky vacuum, we'd have never developed gas pressure to grow anything or survive. Ever.
Slow-mo moon buggy in the chat says sky potatoes. I think that's very funny.
This is so
And
cool.
make it happen more sooner
Speaking to the
than
microphone.
it might have if we just went with everyday stuff.
So we briefly were talking about this earlier, and yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with doing that kind of stuff from Mars. Question is, could we take?
Oh, well, that's good to know. You agree. All right. Maybe you can explain to us how we would achieve gas pressure.
If it started raining chips, would Ireland be at peace, Brian?
That's racist.
Take something like a conifer tree that creates tons and tons of oxygen out of carbon dioxide.
So it's creating this carbon dioxide. With this carbon dioxide, it's creating a load of oxygen at ground level. Okay. How do you keep it under containment to form pressure? You're going to need a container for that, right? Earth doesn't have that in a sky vacuum world where you can travel to this light to get soil.
And utilize it as, instead of having a machine that processes oxygen, letting the conifer, I think that's what you're saying, kind of the goal, mid-goal is a self-sustainable
I don't think we're
environment.
anywhere near her level, and I think anything that we ask is probably...
Yeah, go ahead, whoever those.
Sorry, it's just Brian.
Not just...
one is
Hold on. Not just Brian. The almighty Brian. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. The almighty Brian. This one is so entrenched in her line of, pardon the language, bullshit, right? That if you brought her into the fantasy of McDonald's opening a chain on Mars, that they could sell sky fries, right, with the potatoes that they will grow through terraforming and greenhousing, and she would go, yeah, she'd absolutely agree with you right there and then. Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, that's what she is. Such a fraud, because she would agree with that.
She's like the female version of Neil Smoking the Grass Tyson. That's what I hear.
You can string a proper sentence together.
Probably not.
Yeah, she's
what I'm asking
projecting
is, John,
later on.
Come again?
She was projecting later on because she accused us of being imaginatives when she's enabling their imagination of what's possible in Narnia.
Yep, absolutely correct.
but what I'm asking is dumb. I know that. I'm interested in what her thoughts are on it.
Well, it's a really good idea, and I don't think it's in the world of impossibility. Okay, I'm a possibility thinking. It's like, what might we be able to do? What is the logical sequence, A through B?
What might we be able to do? I mean, maybe you could do some Imagineering. Maybe you could fantasize about the possibilities. Pure projection. Oh my god. Oh, it reeks, doesn't it? Oh, it reeks.
B through C, all the way up to Z, that we can do that all makes sense. Not
So
have
you're building all your protocols and SOPs, and it's all based off of
Absolutely.
reason
I'm all
for your
about,
decision tree.
yes,
that you're making.
process-based
Did you say protocols and SOBs? Sons of bitches.
engineering, flow diagrams, standard operating procedures, how we make things work in a very logical step-by-step sequence. So I think that
He's
the
got
people now,
SOBs and SOPs.
Yeah, I did hear him.
there's a
got
lot
both.
of people doing biohacking. I'm not one of them, but I know there's biohacking labs doing CRISPR technology. That's a certain
It's
kind
happening.
That's a certain kind of genetic engineering.
Wow.
And I think the conifer tree is a really good idea.
Wow. I agree. Conifer tree's a great idea. Oh, this is great.
I'll be
And
sure to tell the creator when I meet him. The conifer tree, that was a great idea, boss. Well done.
Yeah, spot on with that one. I always said those conifers are awesome. You the man. No, you the man. With your conifers.
icing, maybe,
Or it produces fruit.
or genes, this and that, or even just trying it out naturally in one of these test beds. We'll call them test beds on Mars. Start
Naturally, on a test bed, wouldn't that be synthetically? What the hell? Naturally would be occurring in nature. What's that you say? Doing it on a man-made bed that you've got control of? Naturally. Okay. Yeah, you run those natural synthetic tests for the married bachelors and the little bit pregnant women.
starting to get things used to the Martian environment. Like a little bit in here, a little bit there, a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that.
I asked for one reason. If
Yes.
we're going to be bushcrafting on Mars, I got to have fat wood.
And we need a pine species. You know, this is all
Alrighty.
super interesting and everything. And I think the thing that our audience, people like me, with my intelligence level, is wondering, why haven't somebody in your community...
Is that where we got to prior? Yeah, it is. 9 minutes 30. Okay, so we've covered all of it now. I don't know why we covered it in that order, but that's fine. Brilliant. I should do another call to action. I've lost track because I was laughing so hard. Please let the videographer know, and no disrespect to them, right? I'm sure they've got a lovely channel. All of our critiques are aimed at her as opposed to them. Like I say, I'm sure they've got some great survival tips, just not for Mars. You know, there is no soil in the sky. But please let them know, at Nathan Oakley 1980, in spite of them being a considerably bigger channel than I, everybody loves getting more comments, everybody loves more viewer interaction, everybody loves people coming and watching their content. So they will still appreciate you going and leaving them a comment and just letting them know that we've critiqued their video. I'm sure they'll be potentially more responsive as we've not critiqued them. It's just her, right? Now, maybe they'll take offence at the fact that they were nodding along while we're criticising her. But, you know, they're behind a camera. It's, you know, I'll give them every bit of leverage that they would want in refutation of any perceived ill will towards them, because there's none, is there? Anybody feel any, like, injustice was to be pointed out from the actual videographers here? Because I don't.
Well, kind of, because they actually put that on their channel. They thought it was a good idea. It's absolutely embarrassing. There's no evidence of any claims. You can't prep for imagination land. It's absolutely embarrassing video all the way around. I can't believe they published it.
I can't
think she
fault them
took
for being
advantage.
normies, can I? They're just normies. They don't know any of this is wrong to be embarrassed by how stupid what she said was.
Yeah, I
she's
suppose that's
taken
true.
advantage of.
But
Go on, Duncan.
no, I suppose that's true. I mean, that's fair enough. I don't know. I seem to somewhat disagree in my brain still, because, you know, I can't articulate what I'm thinking, I guess, right now.
I think I get what you're saying.
No,
They're the
you stick
conduit.
for what you believe, Duncan.
They're saying they're the conduit for the nonsense waffle that this woman presented. So as the conduit, they're responsible to a degree. I get what you're saying.
Listen.
Right.
They
That's
made
the
a
way to say it.
decision. Sorry.
No, yeah, they're the conduit for what they're saying. So go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
Don't let Brian bully you.
Well, I'll bring everybody real quick and say I think it's cool because I'm sure that's a question a lot of heliocentrists have, right? Why has it one of you guys came out and just crushed them, and we could just put an end to it? And look at the response that she got to it. Look at the response she gave. It was garbage. You know what I mean?
You don't have to raise your hand, sensual. I know Chocolate took your turn. Go ahead. Thanks, Chocolate.
So I just want to say, would you mind going to the 10:10 mark just before we round out? It was just, we kind of glossed over it. It was a bit where he starts saying what flat earthers typically say, and she straight away starts literally halfway dismissing the flat earth spirits away.
Okay, no,
Did you
this
catch
bit.
it?
You mentioned this in the pre-show, and it did pique my interest, and you subtly mentioned it, but I did brush past it. Okay.
Like we've known for a long time that the Earth is actually round.
Yes.
Because if there are flat earthers that are going to be in the comment section, which I imagine they're going to be, they always bring up the laser thing. Like if you could shoot a laser out far enough, it would be on the same plane. If you had the tennis ball that was full of water and you spun it at the rate that the Earth is spinning and around the sun and our solar system.
While he's going through some of this flat earth rhetoric, as poor as it is, she's putting her hand up with the stop symbol, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just beautiful to see. I'm sure the community would appreciate that.
Indeedy. Yeah, it's all very painful. They don't want to hear it. And that hand gesture says it all. Stop, is what she's saying to him. Stop telling me about what flat earthers say. Don't want to hear it.
Her days are numbered, and she just doesn't want to accept that.
Yeah, it was a good video, though. It was a good laugh.
Yeah, but that's all right. There was another one that we were going to cover. I don't know if that would have been better or worse, but you've decided that one's more appropriate for Quantum Eraser. And as it's Thursday, tomorrow's Politics Server Day. So tomorrow's live stream will be taking place from the Politics Discord server, where we will be guests and have been for quite some time now. To, I know, throw our net wider, offer ourselves out to a wider public audience that we have no control over, which is good in a way and bad in a way. Hopefully they've managed to find themselves a moderator for that room so it can be a little bit more slick. Not that it's massively detrimental when it's run with, just attentive moderators trying to keep charge of a whole group of people, but it is better when it's on stage. But either way, tomorrow will be in politics. Hopefully it will be as good as it always is. So check that out tomorrow.
Look forward to it.
Anything else before we round out? Any other comments on that video? Hopefully a few of you will let them know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me.
Well, I'd say that she was invited on, and she was asked specific questions, wasn't she?
Who?
Concerning flat Earth.
Who?
That lady.
What lady?
The lady who was just on that video.
You're
Crazy
suggesting
Granny.
that people know her and have invited her? What?
Well, she was in. I don't know what's going on there. But she's on someone's video, the videographer's video, yeah?
That's some survival channel.
Right. Well, who were you talking about, the videographer?
Yeah,
Who are they then?
the survival channel videographers.
And they're not the people speaking to her.
Yes, they are.
Right. And they're asking her about flat Earth and what she's going to do about it, kind of stuff. Or why
Yes.
hasn't she done that about it?
Yes.
Right. Yeah, well, I suppose can you really point the finger at them? It's a good question. Why hasn't she done anything about it? I know the answer to that.
I know the answer. Because the sun fell in the well.
She can.
And the sun fell into the well.
Yeah, therefore Earth is a sphere. Thousands of years and science and stuff. And things. Makes perfect sense,
And
Brian. Weren't you
potatoes at the
listening?
sky.
Sorry, go ahead.
I said, and potatoes in the sky.
Less Irish bashing on that racist note. I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Programming streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
But the fact they're asking her how to shut down flat earthers is very telling.
From their part, that bit is telling. The fact they're asking her the question. I mean, they're crappy answers, neither in or there, but it's obviously on their mind. You know, why aren't these people eradicated? I don't want to be hearing something that makes me question my belief. Why haven't you done something about it?
Hey, guys.
Hello.
It seems like she's
People were
replied in the comments, if you'd like me to read it.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The name's Forever Green Mars. It says, thanks for all the references to Nathan Oakley. I am sure he is quite a fine man. I am not going to try and address all of the issues he and others bring up. I am a lady and a scientist and will remain so in the light of negative comments. My role is to provide science and inspire people to do their best to help humanity. It is just what...
Literally, someone's moved him into a different room in the middle of him reading a comment. Well done, mods.
Right,
issues that would be a
hold on, we
powerful
missed half of that,
partnership.
Len. We were moving rooms halfway through you reading it out. We got to her helping humanity.
Yeah, so my role is to provide science and inspire people to do their best to help humanity. It is just what we scientists dedicate ourselves to doing. Thank you for thinking about our dear Earth, no matter how your belief system. Let's join forces on climate issues. That would be a powerful partnership. Not addressing anything, just a load of waffle.
I'm sorry. Who was this that just wrote that?
It's in the comments on that video, Forever Green Mars. That's her channel name.
The lady
So
was
that's the
just
lady
speaking.
That was the lady that was just speaking.
Correct.
Interesting.
I suppose it's hard to address a load of waffle and rubbish, isn't it?
But we can work together on climate issues. Is this deja vu?
Is she working for NASA by any chance? Or did she say she did work for NASA or something? I thought I heard someone say it.
I wonder if she's an advocate.
I wonder if she has a belief like she believes I have. I don't have any belief in a flat Earth. I know the Earth is a flat plane with topography above and below it. I don't have any beliefs in that. Her and her globe beliefs. I'm doing my bit for science. I'm a scientist and a lady and a bloody blah. No, you're just a fraud, girl.
Just a fraud.
Yeah.
Glad you said it.
Fraud.
I was waiting to step in exactly that. She's just a fraud. Sorry, it wasn't important what the science was when you talked about it and then appealed to it for something that wasn't science. And now when there could be a response coming our way but won't be because you're a lady and a scientist, so you're appealing to the science that you don't understand again. He's just a fraud.
Let's be friends so I won't be held accountable.
Yeah, so you're not going to be held accountable for your fraud is what I hear.
Yeah, let's join forces, and that way you won't be pointing out where I'm fraudulently claiming science.
Yeah, okay. You say you're a scientist. You gave an example that was claimed to be science in that presentation of Eratosthenes.
She's also a lady.
And a lady. As a lady scientist, please provide the scientific hypothesis. You specifically mentioned hypothesis that would be attributable to Eratosthenes, Cyan, and Alexandria elevation angles of a flat Earth. Formulate that into a hypothesis, lest you be a fraud, madam. You are a fraud, we already know. We don't need to wait for your non-hypothesis for this mathematical angle measurement of a flat Earth. It's not science. You are a fraud. How dare she? How dare she appeal to a science acumen as a self-ascribed scientist? No, love. How dare you grease the skids of your bullshit with your fraudulent claim of being a scientist? No, you are not.
this reminds me, this is a common trait amongst frauds. I've at times listened to spiritual channels. You know, these channels put out this spiritual knowledge type rubbish, right? And I've asked because I get bored of flat earth sometimes, right? And I've asked, often it's a lady, right? Who's the videographer, and I've asked them some couple of hard questions, right? On the absolute manure she just after spewing. And instead of answering the questions, I get there's this statement they have in this pseudo spiritual community nonsense online, and they say, I get this love and light, right? That's what they write. It means nothing. It's a big heap of nothing, right? But they write that as a response after not answering any hard questions. Or saying what she just said is the equivalent to a statement as weak as that, to a response as weak as that. It's just like, I'm a lady and a scientist, right? She's appealing to being female and that we should take it easy on her, right? This isn't a male-female situation. This is you're promoting total fraud, right? And now you're not willing to answer to that fraud. That's what's going on here. Can I go into a court of law and go, you know, I'm a man, so you know what I mean? That should matter. Or can she go into court of law and say, I'm a lady, as if that's going to matter to the judgment, is it? Who cares if you're male or female? You committed fraud.
Yeah, and
Fraud
the
is
fraud was
fraud.
right next to it in the same statement. I'm a scientist. No, you're bleeding not. No, you're a bullshitter, a pseudo-scientist, pretender clown fraud who appealed to something from thousands of years ago that measured a flat Earth. Measurements are not science. You alluded to the requirement for hypothesis. This doesn't have one. You're a fraud. Simple as that.
I think QE would. Sorry. I was going to say, I think QE would actually do a good treatment of that little video.
Well, those two gentlemen have got a fork in the road now, haven't they? They can look at the comments and they can stop simping for some lying nutter, or click the link and join the bar.
Yeah.
I'll get that yellow cab out of there. Out the Eratosthenes yellow cab.
Or it'll completely backfire. And the reason they brought her on was because they needed to know why flat earthers haven't been destroyed. And she provided nothing in that respect. So maybe this will just open the floodgates. Like, wait a minute, we had one of these people on, one of the people that are supposed to be destroying these guys. Why haven't they still been destroyed? Sorry, lady. We're going to be here for a while. We're not going anywhere. First measure flat.
Yes. Sorry about that. Yeah, Earth's measure flat. Sorry about that. Goes together, doesn't it?
How did she find out that we'd responded? Because it isn't her video.
Well, because she's looking at it. Well, she's obviously paranoid about any comments she does receive on it, because she was straight on it.
Oh, it's brand new. It's only 18 hours old. Yeah, she's actually looking at it.
She must have come in and listened to some of the live. Actually, she would possibly heard me calling her a crazy bat. Kind of feel bad about that now.
Why?
Maybe she's like...
sorry, if you're going to form a drivel, nonsensical statement that alludes to hypothesis construction and talk about this and that and elevation angles in a non-coherent string of garbage, I'm going to call you a dingbat. If you don't like that, don't speak garbage on camera. If you can't form a coherent sentence, don't appear on camera as an accredited rocket science and talk about Eratosthenes.
I feel bad about it because it was an insult as opposed to an assessment. When I call her a fraud, I don't feel bad about that at all, because that's an honest assessment.
But mine was an honest assessment. It's not an... it is absolutely an assessment of an incoherent diatribe of garbage that's spewed out of her mouth when I call her a dingbat for not being able to formulate a decent sentence.
I'm saying, from me, what I said to her, I said crazy bat, not dingbat. So when I said it, yeah. So anyway, it doesn't, but she is definitely a fraud. I can't say she's crazy because that would be wrong. but she's definitely a total fraud. That I'm 100 million% behind.
Good. Jolly good.
You
So
know what happened? Sorry.
I
You
just...
know what I think? Go on, sorry. Go on.
No. I was just going to carry on the conversation. Just carry on yourself. My bad. We're stepping on each other for no reason.
Yeah, no. All I was going to say is I'm wondering, you know, a lot of these people, let's say someone like her who has some accreditation, right? They're asked by some videographer about flat Earth. And in the moment, right, they get carried away with their own ego and they start, spewing out total rubbish like her, right? But then afterwards, they get worried. It's like you're talking a lot of big talk, right, about the tough guy down the road, but then afterwards you're worried in case he hears about it. Just do that kind of thing. Oh, I hope he doesn't find out about what I said about him, right? But when the camera was there, you were talking a lot of nonsense. Now, this kind of a thing, right? So it's a bit like that. It's like, I wonder if these people, if they talk a lot of nonsense about flat earthers, and then they actually get worried, because these days, every time somebody has something to say about flat earthers, like flat earthers turn up. There's no way to say something about us and have us completely be drowned out through consensus in the comments as much anymore, because there's just so many of us now. So we turn up, and our arguments are only getting stronger and stronger. Well, we have proof, but the point is that the way flat earthers argue generally is getting stronger and stronger and stronger, because the audience that surrounds the FED is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's spanning out into things like TikTok and whatever else. And I think that a lot of these people just get kind of, they arrogantly say things, and then that's why she's watching the comments, I think, because then afterwards they're going kind of, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said that, I'll have to defend that, there's going to be some flat earther. Whereas you go back 6-7 years ago, you wouldn't have had to deal with that, because they could bat us away. Do you know what I mean? Hand wave us away and leave a million trolls deal with us. But now the flat earthers are starting to make grounds on the trolls in the comments. So I'm wondering
there's a significant amount of flat earthers in that comment section on that video.
There you go.
Yeah, you can't say anything about flat earth these days. Go on, Nathan.
Well, I was just going to thank Len for letting us know so we can respond to this, because it's very, very telling. You know, her response, and it's a new video, so it makes sense that she's looking at it. Obviously, if it was a year old and she was still looking over the comments, that'd be disturbing, but it's only 18 hours old. So, but the fact that she's immediately taken the time to come and respond and say, oh, actually, no, I'm not going to be responding to these flat earthers because I'm a scientist and a lady. Well, we wouldn't be able to respond to that if it wasn't for the fact that Len let us know. So thank you, Len.
You're welcome. And don't forget that the sun fell down the well.
Yeah. Maybe she was just worried about that after listening to it back. She's like, oh, well, that didn't sound as good as it could have done. It's like, yeah, you could have made it sound as good as you like, love. It'd still be a flat earth elevation angle.
And why should we respect anything she had to say when she said that we are nuts?
Yeah.
That was her proof of a sphere.
A freaking opener is to call me nuts by stereotype. I'll say what the hell I like about her from that point forward. Open season. Oh, you don't like it? You like calling me nuts, but when I point out how you talk shite, you won't respond because you're a lady? Oh, was it very ladylike to describe an entire group of people as nuts? Oh, how very ladylike and scientific of you.
I didn't know she said that. As I said, I missed the start of it because I was talking to my friend.
Her opener, when asked, what are you going to do about these flat earthers as a rocket scientist? Oh, well, they're nuts. That was her opener.
But we're so nuts, she wants to join forces with us on the climate issues that don't exist. So she wants to join forces with a crowd of people that she claimed were nuts.
Like you say, Brian, there's so many of us. People are starting to realise that it's not just, oh, I can just make a video spewing garbage about flat earthers and it'll grow my channel. Maybe up until about 12 months ago. Might have been the case. Now, yeah, you are going to have people who have got something to say about your nonsense waffle. And this woman's right to be concerned about what people might say about the crap she spewed after ad-homming us as an opener. Yeah, you better be worried. Yeah, when you stereotype people and describe them as mental, yeah, they're going to have something to say about it. And you're not going to hide behind your femininity and science acumen you don't have as a response. That will be met with absolute disdain. You want equality? You're a dumb fuck. How'd you like that, love?
She's just replied to someone else's like troll comment. I'll not read the troll comment, but she doubled down and said, I just want to remain true to my life. As a lady and a scientist, I have no need to bring others down. My role is to lift others up.
Lying
Let's plan
bitch.
on going to Mars.
Now I'm gonna call her a
colonise it.
lying bitch. So you don't have any need to bring us nutters down, you lying bitch?
She's worried.
She's a lying bitch. I'm absolutely outraged. How dare you, lying scum? I'm a lady. I wouldn't want to bring anybody down except when I stereotype you all as nuts, you lying bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll get the taste of my tongue. Maybe you can hide behind your age or your femininity or your science acumen. No. We've dealt with every one of those garbage responses, haven't we, my dear? Yeah, now I'm going to condescend to you based on your stupidity and lack of science acumen. You didn't have a hypothesis in your angle measurements, did you, love? Deal with it. Don't tell me how feminine you are, or how you wouldn't want to bring anybody down because we'll rip that to shreds and then tell you off. My name's Nathan Oakley. I'm telling you off for being a lying bitch.
Yeah.
Shame the devil. Don't lie. Shame the devil with you. Yes, you will bring people down when you're in fear of our flat earth is being utilised with angle measurements that you didn't know how to explain verbally. Sorry, Brian.
No. You're spot on.
Yeah, I'll tone down the
total lie.
I'll tone down the theatrics, though, eh?
No. It's good. It's good. No, I hope she hears it. It's a pity the show is still not live, because that would have been good on a live show. It's like
now we know she's listening.
Oh yeah. She's lying. She didn't even know the Eratosthenes story. I mean, that shows how much of a pretender she is. Because why would you ever open with something that you don't know anything about? I mean, the story is not complicated even. To look at the official story, it's not complicated. It's very simple to understand. It's not something that you would need to do years of research and learning to understand in the university. It's super simple, right? Including every part of it, including the parallel sun rays nonsense, right? But she didn't know it, yet she was trying to appeal to it. So she was lying her way through that, right? She called us crazy. She didn't know what she was talking about. And afterwards, she's a lady and a scientist, and she's just trying to uplift the world and just want to bring anyone down and blah.
And projected. Told us that, these people have just got a wild imagination, in essence. Right, after you've literally indulged your hosts with your pretender fantasies about what could be done on Mars, literally detailing how you go through the flowcharts of your fantasy. The logic, as you phrased it. Yeah, pure fantasy, and then projected onto us as nutters. I wouldn't bring anybody down. Yeah, you would. Don't delude yourself. Shame the devil with your lies, my dear, or you'll end up in hell.
Yeah. Listen, you can't get away with attacking flat Earth as easy now. As no matter how much they've tried to suppress us, flat Earth has gotten out there. People are paying attention on the ground level. There is definitely way more flat earthers now than there was 5 years ago in numbers. So 5 years ago, 2019, you could get away. She could have got away with that in 2019, but she can't get away with it now. Her and people like her.
You reckon it's 5 years? I put it as 12 months. I think you're probably more right than I am. Yeah, 5 years ago.
12 months ago, there was a lot. Go on.
I was just going to agree. 5 years ago, you'd have got away with that. You could put it out and nobody would. As a large YouTuber, like they're 100,000 plus, I think they've got 300,000 subscribers, right? Well, that sort of channel size, your general audience will drown out any minor detractors that you get with ones or twos. Those comments are easily dealt with. when you're getting half a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen comments from flat earthers who object to various aspects, which is what you get now. Obviously, there's going to be an in-between between those two 5 years ago and now. But for me, perceptually, it seemed like it was only 12 months ago that you could have got away with that. But I think you're right. It's actually, no, 12 months ago, it would have been slightly overwhelming for somebody to come out with this crap, because there's enough flat earthers to come and counter it in the comment section alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not just the numbers either. It's the fact that our arguments have become, and our ability to argue has become so much better. And no, I'm not saying there's not nonsense out there, feast of nonsense and Easter and other stuff. I'm not saying there isn't. But even the people who are fighting for those things are arguing them better. Do you know what I mean? So it's not, you can't, like when someone tries to rub their own ego and tries to hand wave us away, these days, it doesn't work so well. You know, and David is, she would have got away with that a few years ago, and she wouldn't have made any apologies about anything. Now she's still not apologizing, but she's trying to call a truce. Do you know what I mean? No, you fired the first bullet. Do you know what I mean? And now you want to call a truce because you realise that you can't take on the force that you were shooting at. It doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? You can't do that.
Maybe you should have started off with an ad hom and then try to call for truth at the end. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Don't call me a nutter and then expect me to respect your femininity.
Luckily, though, she still has time at her side, so she has time to right her wrongs and apologise to us.
Yeah.
So we'll expect that tomorrow morning.
Yes, that's right. I'll expect that apology. Having been stereotyped as a nutter with a crazy imagination, having listened to her babble on about her imagination about what might take logically place on Mars.
Yes, I think she should come in to FED tomorrow and apologise publicly for calling us crazy as a stereotype. But she thinks we're so stupid that we're going to just go, well, she's a lady and she's a scientist, so we let go.
You're a lady? And a scientist? How dare I challenge your authority? You're a woman.
A delicate flower who just wants to change the world for the better.
Nah, love, this 2024, you're a bullshitting glurf, pretender clown fraud, punting your religion based on a religious rhetoric that you didn't even understand yourself.
Yeah, she doesn't even have her own heliocentric supporting stories correct. And you know what I mean, she doesn't even have that much correct.
No, there's no prejudice here. Would it have been any different if she would have been a man with a beard? No, it wouldn't have made any difference. We'd have given the exact same critique.
Yes.
Even if he said, as a lady and a scientist.
As a heterosexual meat-eater, I do not feel that I should be capable of being challenged. Surely I'm in some sort of protected group.
I like the sound of this new guy. Hello, mate. Good speaking voice.
Hey, guys. I've been around for years. I just never talk because I'm normally working.
It's a Geordie.
So am I.
Don't you dare. Mack him.
Oh, fair enough. My bad. I know how offensive that is.
Well, welcome.
You can thank Sarah Millican for me knowing that's offensive.
Did you hear the add-on I gave to your It's Measured Flat, Nathan? Me and Chocolate were laughing about
You're a bit distant. Say that again, Brian.
Did you hear the add-on? The comical add-on I gave to your It's Measured Flat that me and Chocolate were laughing about?
No, go on. I didn't catch that.
It's measured flat. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, sorry.
That's going to annoy a few people.
As much as I'm being overly dramatic and adding a few theatrics to my disdain, I really don't care. You know, it's not me that's going to lose sleep over it. It's her. You know, her very telling immediate response is a testament to that fact. Me, I don't care. I may look up her name to stick her in the title. I may not if I can be bothered. You know, it's because it's not that big a concern to me. You know, for her, this is deeply concerning. She wants to know that she's still making a good representative of herself as she does this. And, well, okay, that's call for concern for you. For me, tomorrow's another day. You know what I mean?
Just what's on my mind. Nathan, would you mind just previewing the Mooncake Flat Earth documentary? That's in Master B. Brian, I suggested this for a QE live show.
That's the other one,
I'll
you
run
mean?
it by you, see what you think.
The other video we were contemplating doing in the pre-show?
Correct.
Yeah, I'll have a look at that tomorrow.
Okay, all right. He's a fellow English guy. Decent sense of humour, but stuck in the matrix, I guess.
Okay. You planning on dating him?
Say again.
Good sense of humour, you say? I was like, what? You planning on dating him?
No, but we're going to be listening to him. So that's important that they can hold your attention.
Yeah, Kiwi's indisposed temporarily. He's got a family emergency that he's tending to currently, so he might not be around to cover it. We may not do a Ballbusters on Saturday. I should really preemptively tell people that's the only reason I'm mentioning this, because it's getting close to Saturday, right?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, if you're listening, QE, all the best.
I hadn't actually spoken to him personally. We were supposed to do the book yesterday and we didn't. And Adam just dropped me a line and said, yeah, QE's got a family emergency he's got to deal with. And he asked me to pass on the information. Well, as we do have a scheduled Ballbusters on Saturday, unless I'm very much mistaken, there's a good chance that'll spill into that. But yeah, anyway, now you know.
Sensual, Nathan told you a lie a minute ago.
What?
When you want him to, when you wanted him to preview that video, instead of previewing it now, when he can do it, he said, "We'll do it tomorrow."
Well, politics is tomorrow, Brian. We both know.
Yes,
Exactly.
of course.
Think we're stupid, Nathan?
He does.
Who are you talking to?
I'm on to you.
Me?
Now?
I don't know what you're talking about.
We'll do it tomorrow. He loves saying that on a Thursday with absolutely no intention of doing it tomorrow. Why don't we just do it now, Nathan?
Just, you weren't here, right? First of all, sensual nosy stirring the pot, because I wanted to cover that video. That was the one I wanted to cover this morning. I'm like, which one do you want to cover? And he was like, that one. I was like, okay, we'll cover that one then. And then he subtly said, like, oh, well, we could look at the other one afterwards, and he didn't get a response from me.
And you still want to cover it?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it then.
Oh, we'll do. Probably tomorrow.
That lady directly responded to my comment when I said she doesn't know what science is. She said, I'm just trying to go out of my way to hurt her feelings.
She's a total snowflake. If you're that type of person, don't go around calling people nutters. It's just that simple, right? You're that person in a pub that goes around threatening people, and then when they get their nose broken, they're like, oh, I can't believe it, I'm such a delicate flower. No, you were going around calling everybody idiots, and then somebody took offence to it and did something about it, and what, you're shocked? Don't antagonise people and then cry foul and go, oh, I'm just a delicate flower.
Max Wax, can you read out the full comment, please? Because this woke speech is phenomenal. This is what we've got for the next 10, 20 years, maybe?
Yeah, I'll read. Hold on, where is it? She said, I said, this lady has no clue what science is. And then she responded, oh my, people get so much from trying to hurt other people's feelings. I just send you support as you find your way in this difficult world. As Carl Sagan said, Earth is our cradle, but we are not destined to stay in the cradle forever. Let's join forces and make Earth a better place for all to live. How can we help each other in these challenging times? I'll come up with something funny to say to her, but
It reminds me of that South Park episode where they go to see the president of the NFL, and they're raising all these concerns to him, and he just keeps coming out of all these monotonized messages, and then they realize he's a robot, and he starts breaking down.
You could ask her.
I haven't seen South Park in so long.
You also know nobody's verified it is actually her. It could just be some random stranger pretending to be her. You realise that, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, I thought someone clicked on her icon and went to her channel.
Really? No, fair enough.
I thought so.
The channel does seem to be hers, although there's nothing on it and no subscribers, but it's been active since 2013.
Yeah, fair enough. Either way, you know, our sentiments are what they are, regardless of if it's somebody pranking us or not.
I suppose at times like this, all you can do is play another video.
No.
Is anyone familiar with Count Dankula?
Count Dankula?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. No.
He made the news a few years ago about making his girlfriend's dog do a Nazi salute. He got into a bit of bother about that, but he does a series called Absolute Mad Lads and does like a little story about mad lads. But he done one about Mad Mike Hughes the other day and just misrepresented a lot of stuff. It was a bit sad, just the basic like normie response to flat earth stuff. It was interesting to hear a bit more about Mike Hughes, for all it was all just badly researched. I was just wondering if people had seen it.
No, sorry.
I posted a link yesterday into the text chat.
Oh, we could have a look at that tomorrow.
Just stop, Nathan. The noise.
Lots to do for next week, in all seriousness.
That's my friend shared. I didn't watch this yet, but my friend shared an episode of Count Dankula with me, where there's this really old Japanese guy who is going around during the day with walking sticks and all this other stuff. And it turns out that in the nighttime, he was a ninja. Right? He was trained. Right? And he was in the nighttime. He was breaking into places, robbing us and stuff. And when they caught him eventually, he just said, "I just didn't want to walk." Well, come on, Nathan. Let's hear something. Come on, this is you're leaving the show here.
You want me to check out this video? Okay, fine.
No one can hear anything, Nathan.
What?
No one can hear anything.
I mean, no one can hear anything. You not hear that music playing? You not hear that music?
In the background, something very faint. It's like a really, really faint sound in the background.
Hold on.
I thought it was loud. No, you can hear everything good.
Seems fine. Everything's patched through correctly. Should be fine.
For Discord maybe, but not for the panel.
Ah, hello there. Don't mind me, I'm just sitting out and catching some of the non-existent sun that we're getting over here in the UK at the moment. What a wonderful world we live in, right guys? The old phrase goes that the future is now, and in a lot of ways it really is when you think about it. We have access to some of the most sophisticated kinds of technology, healthcare, and information that humanity's ever seen. And
well,
no, the future is not now. Surely you'll find it's definitely not now. No more than the past is now. No, the future is in the future. The past is in the past. Now is now.
What did QE say? Go back to primary school and start again?
really accessible too. I mean, even my phone, for example, I can basically use that to access the entire sum of human knowledge. Any
No, you can't.
book, any text, any video, any song that I want. It's there.
Really? Any? What about the ones that were burned at Alexandria? Can you access those on your phone?
There instantly. And all of that technology just fits snugly in my pocket as well. I mean, if we weren't so used to it, it would be absolutely staggering. I don't even have to get out of bed and put on clothes. I can just immediately access any information I want. It's all simply just a few easy taps away. And yet, in spite of all I've said, and in spite of how easy it is, humankind has still found a way to be fucking stupid. The flat earth theory, something that's become a bit...
Not theory. Measurement.
Bit of an easy joke on the internet at this point, arguably.
I don't know about that. I mean, you can consider it laugh-worthy as a poisoning the well fallacy, but you're already in a category error, so you're an idiot.
Rightly so. A load of morons that seriously, genuinely still believe that the Earth is flat. I mean, we've been into space for the...
Have you? When did you go to space? We? Oh, by we you mean your priests who told you that there's a second law of thermodynamics violation sky vacuum above your head, which gas is not filling. I'm pretty sure we haven't been to space. You definitely haven't been to space. And there is no space to go to. If there was, the gas we're breathing would fill it, in line with entropic dispersion law.
Love of God. This is easy. This is low-hanging fruit. Get your trolling hats on, boys and girls. Let's go get them. However, if you stop laughing at how absurdly stupid this belief is...
I just want to say that on his phone, all this information he's speaking about, part of that information is information about entropy. So maybe you should look at that information.
Yeah, check it out, dude. Look up the second law of thermodynamics. And then tell me about your outer space sky vacuum.
For a couple of seconds,
with a straight
you come
face.
to the horrific realization that this isn't a fever dream. This is an actual theory that somehow still...
Do you want to define theory for us, you complete idiot?
...exists in the 21st century. I mean, how in the name of sanity is this even possible? Surely...
It isn't. You think it's a theory. You don't know what a theory is. You're an idiot.
This kind of bollocks should have died out years and years ago. How long...
But for the fact that we navigate Earth flat and your globe belief comes from those measurements, it would have died out. If it wasn't for us measuring Earth flat, we probably wouldn't be measuring Earth flat anymore. But we do because it is. And your globe belief is based on those measurements.
How long has the flat Earth theory even been around for? We've known that the Earth has been round for... how long exactly?
Never. You've measured Earth flat and created mathematical extrapolations that create paradigms. But in terms of knowing Earth is spherical, never. There's not any measurements of a spherical Earth. There's only flat Earth measurements.
Well, this probably won't come as too much of a surprise to you, but many of the answers are hidden within layers of misconception, mistakes, exaggerations, distortions, and outright bullshit. But
I don't know, the propaganda that's attached to seeming good-natured flat earthers could be described that way, and often is by us. So maybe you've got something, maybe you're onto something here. We'll find out, I guess.
In this video, I, Mother Mooncake, will peel back those layers and...
Wait, did he just call himself Mother Mooncake? Come again?
Sounded like it.
Very telling.
Wait, what's mother mean?
Female owner of a child.
As opposed to...
Maybe this guy should be saying, I'm a lady.
He's a mother, according to his self-title. What's a mooncake?
Ask
Okay.
Adam, he's into furries.
show you just how pitiable and...
Can I just say, I think your name's stupid, and based on the fact you've called yourself Mother Mooncake, I now deem you a wanker. Can I just say that? If you were to say that sat next to me in the pub, and you weren't even associated with my group of people, and I heard you describe yourself to one of your friends as Mother Mooncake, I would turn around, laugh in your face, and call you an idiot. To your face. I'd say, you stupid idiot! You call yourself Mother Mooncake? You complete wanker! Yeah, that's what I'd tell you, to your face. Just so you know. Mother Mooncake.
washed up. This...
Just so we're clear, my name is Nathan Oakley. I call myself that because that's what I'm called.
Theory of the flat earth really is.
It's not a theory, you dumb fuck. Wanker with a stupid name.
Though the fact I'm even doing...
Knows I can swear too, yeah? This is amazing, isn't it? I can put this pathetic intonation by using sweary language like he did. Just in case anybody comes along after the fact and says, Nathan swears. Yeah, I do it to mirror what our opponent's doing. It's me holding a mirror up to what he did. Yeah, calling it bollocks and saying it's fucking stupid. Yeah, I can call you a fucking wanker mooncake, can't I? It's just as effective. Yeah, but it's also a mirror to his actions, isn't it? Just so anybody who wants to say, Nathan swears. Yeah, I do. We're reacting to a wanker. So I'm treating him and talking to him like a wanker because he's a wanker.
Yes.
Doing this in the 21st century is...
You already said that, though, didn't you? This is a bit of repetition now. Have you run out of things to say 2 minutes into your video?
somewhat alarming in itself.
You've already said that too.
Let me, for the absolute sake of it, take you through the complete history of the flat earth theory, along with why it's...
The complete history. Only moments earlier you appealed to your audience for how long we'd known Earth was spherical. So we're to be trusted that you've done your primary source research on this history, are we? Of a theory in a category error? Dum-dum?
obviously complete and total nonsense.
No, it's measured flat. Your belief in a globe comes from those measurements.
How long is this video, Nathan?
How long or how old?
Well, both.
40 minutes long, 4 days old.
40 minutes long, that's why I suggested it for QE. But it is a good video.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll do a minute or two more.
What do you think, Brian? Suitable?
Again?
I was asking Brian if he thinks it's suitable for a QE show.
I wouldn't say so, because I don't know. I haven't heard enough about it. The guy is just not spewing out claim science, then probably.
Well, I was just thinking it's half an hour, so it's more of a documentary. He's about to go into Pythagoras. I can just see Adam just going on, and I don't know, I'll just see it working. But if you can't, fair enough.
Want a little bit more?
Sure.
We should probably also look at how long the idea of a round Earth has existed for. The earliest humans would have probably assumed the Earth was flat. I mean...
So you did your intro outside with reasonable acoustics, and then you've moved the rest of the documentary into your echoey lounge.
I can't see them having any reason to think otherwise. They were probably far more preoccupied with things like
getting as close as possible to your microphone in a really echoey room. I would suggest you just do it with the camera. Get as far away as possible so we can see you and your crap room. And then we can't really hear what you're saying.
gathering enough berries for the winter, or trying to kill that big, delicious-looking mammoth over there. As time went on, cool new technologies like farming and metallurgy would have likely kept us distracted, and even the first, earliest civilizations like the Sumerians, the Egyptians, the ancient Greeks, and the Israelites all believed that the Earth was flat. But this...
Sorry, they were measuring it flat. No, we've only just had a scientist tell us about elevation angle measurements at wells. But it's not belief, if they're measuring it that way. I mean, to create a ball in some instances, but they're measuring it flat.
This would all begin to change in and around the 6th century BC.
So the measurements of Earth changed? No, they've never changed. To this day, we use flat Earth elevation angles.
When something more spherical began to appear in the writings of some Greek philosophers.
So you think that Earth will become spherical when it's measured flat because of the writings of Greek philosophers? Writings don't influence the nature of the ground that we measure flat. So this is definitely a non sequitur.
They reckon the first of those...
They reckon? Is that what we base our discernment on, what Greek philosophers reckoned? Earth's measured flat, you complete dickhead.
Thinkers to propose the idea of a round Earth.
But we don't propose the nature of the ground. We can measure it. You take the words of philosophers and their reckonings, do you? What, reckonings? Like adding things up? Maths? No, we measure Earth flat.
Was Pythagoras in and around 500 BC?
What's Pythagoras famous for? Anybody?
Triangles.
Oh, well, you'll need a flat Earth for those.
And yes, if that name sounds familiar to you, I do mean that Pythagoras.
What's this? A right angle triangle? Like for elevation angles and such like? Measurements of Earth? You'll need a flat plane for elevation angles that use right angle triangles, my friend.
One thing you learnt about in school.
Go on.
He's about to confuse Pythagoras with the Pythagoreans. That's what he's about to do.
Who, amongst other pastimes, was obsessed with fucking triangles. As dull as his contributions to your maths lesson might have been, though, he was by...
Why was it dull? I don't understand why you needed to use that obscenity when talking about triangles and demean them as boring. I don't really understand
Because he's cool.
I don't get it. Explain it to me.
Because in his mind, he's cool.
Okay.
And all these people who deal with triangles and maths and geometry, they're boring and stiff.
Circles and squares, boring. Spheres and hexagons, awesome. Very cool.
By all accounts, quite clever, and a little bit insane. The story goes that Pythagoras founded and led his own cult, which, amongst other insane rules, forbade the eating and even touching...
Who gives the tiniest of shites about any of this? What is he babbling about?
Of green beans. One day, in around 495 BC, Pythagoras was apparently fleeing an angry horde of people who had just thrown him out of their town for being a bit of a prick. Being run out of towns for being a slight nuisance seems to be something that happened to Pythagoras a lot more than you'd expect. Anyway, as he was making his escape, he came to a field of green beans.
Oh my God. What does this have to do with anything? I'll give it another 30 seconds, and if he doesn't make a point, I'm giving up.
He refused to go through it, and so the horde of angry people caught up with him, and he was brutally murdered. The end! Regardless of his vegetable-related death, though, Pythagoras...
So that story was, by your own self-confession, completely non sequitur then? No bearing on anything? Just an interesting and amusing anecdote? Why would you... What? I am almost lost for words.
He's doing a Dave McKeegan.
Genetic fallacy?
There's no substance to any of this. Substanceless.
No, but comes on with a load of claims and a load of nothing, and then he backs him up with nothing, but he brings you off in parables and nonsense. And actually, in 1842, interestingly enough, the bloody blah, this kind of stuff that has no connection to any of the things he's supposed to be disproving or proving or whatever. And then he goes back somehow to what wasn't even the original point, and then the video's over, kind of stuff.
Been the first person to propose the idea that the Earth was actually round and not flat. He'd already figured out that the moon was round, and so he reasoned that the Earth was probably a sphere as well. Shortly after this, another Greek mathematician and thinker called Anaxagoras managed to prove that the Earth...
How did he figure out the moon was well, I suppose he said round.
He said round. You can't really... okay, round, yeah, fine. I mean, if you went into sphericity and maybe documented libration, you'd be like, okay, we can brush past this for the moon with a mild sense of inference. But so far we've got another Greek philosopher reckoning that because the moon's a sphere, without any example from him in this documentary. Yeah, wonderful research. Therefore, Earth is. Okay, because... some connecting dots between these two things are going to be offered? Nope. No, we're into orbital motion that doesn't exist in this time frame. Look, it's on screen. You haven't got it, Brian. My audience has.
Earth's shadow on the moon during...
during an eclipse in an orbital motion. Doesn't know his own timeline.
A lunar eclipse was in fact a round shadow. And that...
What, as in occulted in an orbital motion that doesn't exist yet?
It's a pretty good indicator that the thing cast...
The timeline's buggered and makes no sense. Yeah? Oh, what, are you saying these thousands of years ago guy thought, I know, in several thousand years, there's going to be a guy that infers elliptical orbital motion. So I'm pretty sure this is an occultation based on that elliptical motion that doesn't exist yet. No, the timeline makes absolutely no freaking sense.
Casting the shadow, the Earth is...
Go on.
Oh, God, I'm not losing it. Sorry. Go on. I forgot what I was trying to say.
That's all right. Ketamine's a very strong drug.
Also round in shape. Further down the line, in about 350 BC, the great Aristotle himself weighed in on the debate. He first observed that constant...
Sorry, the debate? So we got a debate about it based on philosophers' musings about orbital motions that don't exist yet. Okay, gotcha.
Constellations would look different and generally come in and out of view.
What, with a heliocentric worldview that doesn't exist yet? How amusing.
Depending how far south he travelled. If he was standing on a round spherical surface, it would make sense that certain constellations come in and out of view as he travelled across that surface.
How did they measure it? They measured it with elevation angles. Across the surface? Yeah, that's how they're getting the angles to them. That's how they're tracking them and documenting them. Off a flat Earth. Aristotle noted that sailing ships away disappeared from view hull first. Sorry, does this look like we get a view? This looks very much like we're seeing the side of our own head in an orthographic view that doesn't represent the horizon. It also derives a curve from the eye level. See this dotted line here? In the maths for Earth curve, which is being inferred hundreds of years before the maths exists, yeah, we've got an eye level. Yeah, that runs parallel with surface level because you need the height of the eye to make this mathematical inference. You need a flat Earth for this inference. My God, you're dumb. What's the guy's name? Mooncake. Dumb as shit, mate. Got eye level even in your own diagram. And the height of this eye level will be with respect to sea level for the height of eye in Earth curve maths. You need a flat Earth for Earth curve maths that doesn't exist in this timeline.
Aristotle observed a similar thing with ships coming into port.
1 second,
as well.
Nathan.
Good.
Very quickly, I remembered this guy is one of these guys who doesn't get the facts correct, right? But what will happen is over time, it'll be pointed out to him, wherever it's pointed out to him online, more than likely, that he didn't know what he was talking about. Maybe it just might be us, right? And then he's going to try and double down, right? Instead of just straight out admitting I didn't know what I was talking about, he'll try and double down.
Observable thing to him as it appeared.
Hang on.
That was accidental, sorry.
Right. He'll try and double down on that. But it seems to me that these people turn up pretty regular. And what they're actually doing is chaining themselves to the Titanic. Because instead of just saying right now, okay, I got all that stuff wrong and I didn't actually know what I was talking about, and been able to somehow, you know, salvage something in the future, they're going to double and triple and quadruple down and go down with that ship. That's what they're doing. Because, I mean, like, we know the ballers, like the Ruifs of the world, they're all going down with that ship. This fella doesn't have to go down with the ship. All he has to do is show a little bit of humility right now and this time. But he won't do it. He'll chain himself to the Titanic and go down with it.
Over our curved horizon. So from this point onwards, the
Curved horizon's an oxymoron.
350s BC, the ancient Greeks seem to have enough knowledge to be quite satisfied in the
You've just said it was a debate. They're satisfied, but debating.
conclusion that the Earth was actually a sphere in shape.
They've concluded that while they debate about it, have they? While they offer up their evidence based on mathematics that don't exist yet? Yeah, you need to look into this timeline. This is garbage. Doesn't make any sense as you look at the timeline.
There is no further debate in their minds from this.
It was a debate, but now there isn't a debate. So there's no further debate. They know that's why they're debating about it. I gotcha. What a clown.
You've had your coffee today, Nathan. You're looking pretty sharp.
Point onwards. However, 100 years after the observations of Aristotle, another great mathematician and astronomer, Eratosthenes, not only provided some more incredibly conclusive evidence for the shape of the Earth.
Awesome. We're going to get something incredibly conclusive. We're going to end the debate with these, measurements, hopefully. I wonder what Aristophanes has got to offer.
He also managed to measure the circumference of the fucking planet.
Of the fucking planet? Amazing. Okay, so how does he measure the circumference? Let's hear it.
Eratosthenes was the chief librarian of the famous Library of Alexandria.
Couldn't give a shit. How did he measure it?
That mysterious ancient wonder of the world that apparently housed Eratosthenes. He heard one day that south of Alexandria there was a city called Sinai, where on the summer solstice, the longest day of the year, there were no vertical, downward-casting shadows at all.
So you're saying it's perpendicular to a plane? We're talking about elevation angles then? That's a flat Earth measurement.
And then the son fell into the well.
Yeah, what a surprise.
And then the daughter.
At noon. So, over the course of a couple years, he stuck a great big pole outside his own library in Alexandria every June 21st and recorded the shadow that it cast at exactly noon.
So this is an elevation angle measurement then? What's this up here? You seem to be describing the shadow as a curved line when he's taking an angle reading from it, my friend. You complete Burke.
It's funny that he knows so much about this guy who was the librarian in the library in Alexandria when the Romans came in and completely decimated that place.
He looked it up on his phone.
Strange.
He looked it up on his phone. I called that earlier, didn't I? You can find anything on your phone, Brian.
Sinai, there were no vertical shadows at all at noon, so that...
What's this vertical with respect to a horizontal plane, like perpendicular to it? Yeah? You're going to need a flat Earth for this, you complete idiot. This is a flat Earth measurement. It's an elevation angle measurement, you stupid man. You're proving a flat Earth with this measurement. Plotting it out on a curved surface violates the angle, you clown.
That's basically 0 degrees for the sake...
Degrees? What, like an angle? This isn't an angle, shithead. This is a curved line now. You complete dumbass. Degrees would be two straight lines. One is the surface of Earth, dum-dum. Not going to get degrees off a curve, are you, dickhead? Talking about angle measurements.
Of it. However, in Alexandria, Eratosthenes' little pole cast a small shadow of around 7 degrees.
You're going to need a flat Earth for 7 degrees, dickhead. It's an angle. It's called an elevation angle measurement. So he's measuring Earth flat with angles, dum-dum.
Please don't take that sentence out of context.
Context? It's degrees. It's an angle. It's two straight lines. One of them's not curved. Idiot.
You keep your minds out of the gutter. This is some pretty conclusive proof for
a flat Earth angle measurement off a flat surface prerequisite. You can't make an angle measurement and ascribe 7 degrees to it if the curved surface gives you one of the straight lines. It won't be an angle, dum-dum. But you think this is conclusive proof for sphericity when you're taking angle measurements of a flat Earth? They're the only measurement involved. What an idiot.
Spherical Earth, obviously.
No, spherical won't give you an angle, dum-dum. Yeah, it was a degree measurement.
If you shine a light on top of a football, the angles of the shadows...
Sorry, angles of shadows of a curved football? Seems like some clowns don't know what angles are
going to be different based on where the shadow hits.
They'll be non-existent, mate, because you've only got one straight line. The other's curved. Do you think you can get a curved line off a football to give you a 7-degree angle? What a thicko. Okay, mate, shine your light with a stick on a ball and show me where you get 7 degrees. You complete idiot.
The surface. However, Eratosthenes...
No, mate. Balls don't give you angles. Would anybody like to get in line to berate this wanker? Be my guest.
Yeah, he's pretty one stupid. He's a pretty stupid guy. He doesn't seem to know even the basics of the geometry that he's trying to invoke to prove his globe. He knows nothing about the actual true history of things. He's an ignoramus, basically.
Anybody else? You stupid shithead man. Get your football, stick a stick in it, and then show me where the protractor gives you 7 degrees. You stupid shit for brains moron.
Eratosthenes could also use these shadow measurements to actually come up with...
They're angle measurements. They're elevation angles. Flat Earth, prerequisite, must be flat, can't be an angle if it isn't. The only measurement being described by you is of a flat Earth with an angle. Unequivocally flat, or it wouldn't give you that 7 degrees. 2 straight lines, one of them won't be a football. What a thicko. Add to these tastes, by the way, son. My name's Nathan Oakley. It's not Mother Moo Cake. Yeah? Wanker. Yeah, I'm calling you a wanker and pointing out how stupid you are. Fun, huh? Flat Earthers pointing out how wankers think they get angles off footballs. Wanker.
With a rough measurement for the entire circumference of Earth. First, what he did was he measured the distance between Alexandria and Sinai, which he recorded as about 5,000 stadia. That's about 800 kilometers if you...
Kilometers? What, like linear, straight, flat distance? What is it? Is it just me, or has he got this angle of 7.2 degrees in hell on his diagram? Yo, shit for brains! Was he in hell? Was that how deep the well was? Did it go to the centre of Earth for the 7.2 degrees? No, bonehead. This angle only works off a plane. So suddenly it's in hell so it can work on the equatorial plane? Wasn't it an angle off the surface of the football? You didn't seem to detail going into the centre of your football for this 7.2 degrees, did you? No, we don't take angles from hell. Stupid shit for brains. When have you tunnelled to hell to measure 7.2 degrees? No, you got it from the flat surface, mate. You didn't get it in hell.
You want a more modern unit of measurement? Coming back to his shadows, Eratosthenes knew as well that 7 degrees made up about 1/50th of the entire 360 degrees of a circle.
Sorry, mate, he's not getting 7 degrees of anything now. He's got lines meeting a football. None of these will give him any degree of anything because they're not 2 straight lines anymore, you stupid clown. You haven't got any angles to measure. What? But he knew that the angles he couldn't measure actually originated in hell? Did he? He knew that, did he? That seems very assumptive. That angles he can't measure anymore originate in hell.
Nathan, he said also that he measured 800 kilometers. How he did that?
With a straight, flat, linear measuring tool, I would assume. Because
with the
kilometers are flat.
Or what? With the measuring wheel or what?
We don't know how he got the stadia. That's not part of their story. We can't fill them in on their blanks.
2,000 years ago. Okay, yeah.
And then now he's going to bring in the presupposition of a 360 degrees circle or sphere.
Well, he hasn't got an angle to put in the middle.
No.
Where did he get his angle from? None of these are angles, you stupid dickhead. Yeah, none of these are angles.
Hang on. There's an old point being missed here, right? Because we haven't referred to it for some time. We're kind of forgetting about it. It's very prevalent, though. The 7.24 degrees adds up to 500 miles. How does he know it adds up to 500 miles?
He doesn't. He hasn't got a radial value derivation till he violates the angle measurement and puts it in hell. How does he know to put it in hell? He doesn't. How does he get the value to calculate the radial value with it? Well, with violations of angle measurements he can't get anymore to transpose into hell. Because he knows that parallel lines meeting a curved surface will be the same as an angle at an equatorial plane, apparently. No, it just violates the original angle measurement. These aren't angles anymore.
The only way he could know that 7.24 degrees adds up to around 500, let's say, statute miles, would be if he already knew what that was in a linear, horizontal, because he would need to know that first to be able to back engineer that mathematically into a circle that will then give him an arc length of that circle of about 500 miles. So he has to measure. He has to.
Sorry, mate.
Go on, one Nick.
Just saying. Sorry, mate. I'm just saying, even if he could have measured the 500 stadia, and he's measured an angle using a flat Earth, he's got no way. Now he's bringing 360 circle circumference into the play. That's something that's not been observed or measured. We can give him the 7-point-degree angle, which is a flat Earth measurement. He could have measured the 500 linear distance. Where's the 360 come from? That's the imagination.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm making. He needed to measure it to 500 miles, whatever it is in stadia, horizontally first, and more before he could ever extrapolate out a circumference size for a globe mathematically. He had to beg the question first before he could come up with an answer.
Right, can I re-ask my question? Is this suitable for a QE live show?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Circle. So by multiplying the 800 kilometres between Alexandria and Sinai by that 50, Eratosthenes came up with a final figure of 250,000 stadia, or 40,000 kilometres for the Earth's full circumference.
No, mate, it's violating the original angle measurements that he doesn't have anymore. Yeah? He's a flat plane of reference to get his angles from their elevation angles. He's converting them into the centre of hell. Why? Nobody's measuring any angles in hell, telling me that he knows that parallel lights that meet a curved surface and won't give him angles will work on an equatorial plane when they are angles in hell.
What's most astonishing is just
how he measured a flat Earth for these angles. That's the most astonishing part. The fact that you didn't catch it is just a testament to your stupidity.
accurate Eratosthenes' measurements were.
They're measurements of a flat Earth, they're elevation angles. The degree description you gave them means that you cannot have them be anything other than a flat Earth elevation angle. It isn't an angle if the one line is curved.
Modern science and calculation.
He measured.
Good.
He measured a flat Earth. He calculated a globe, not measured a globe.
Yep.
That's what this is the trick that they fool themselves with every time.
Yeah, we'll
So the
measure
funny
a
thing is
flat
as
Earth
well,
angle and then claim that that flat Earth measurement of an angle, when violated with a curved baseline, will work as the angle that was originally measured off the flat surface on an equatorial plane in the centre of hell, and then the angle we measure is just the globe Earth turning at a certain number of degrees with respect to the centre point that we're now in.
Just saying, no,
It's the
Nathan, as well.
anti-flat
The funny
Earth
thing is,
MO greatest hits.
Come on, Dick.
just saying, the funny thing is, like, we're going over this as we've done many times, and we all know the story and the ins and outs of it. But even nowadays, like yesterday, I was talking to someone. This comes up. Where's your globe proof? Well, it was a Greek guy 2,000 years ago. I mean, this is all they refer to. These 2,000 year ago Greeks with a stick and a shadow. So when was the last time your globe was measured then? How is it measured nowadays? I know it's not because we don't live on a globe, but that's all they refer to all the time. 2,000 year ago stick and shadow measurements. It's pathetic.
Tell them it's
It's fine
okay.
to refer to them. Just 1 second, Sensual. Sorry. It's fine to refer to them. That measurement is absolutely fine. But you just can't claim it's a measurement of a globe. You must claim that the globe is calculated from that measurement.
Yeah.
Then they're correct.
Yeah, this puts them between a rock and a hard place. Brian's taking it straight to the conclusion. You either accept what's on screen now. That's flat Earth elevation angle measurements on the surface of Earth to give him degrees. Now, he's not going to deny that. The degrees are a prerequisite for the claim as it moves forward. It's just as it moves forward, you then violate the shadow on the surface with an angle attached to it and describe where on screen now labelled shadow, that bit's now curved. I mean, it's all cool because we're going to move this into the equatorial plane in hell. Why? Well, because we know that the light's coming in parallel to a curved surface, not giving us an angle, but we're calling it 7 degrees and putting it in hell. So that's all good. That's what they do. Well, you're going to measure a flat Earth and then put the angle that won't work on a curve in hell to make it work on a different plane in the centre of Earth and make Earth the protractor. Why? How is this useful? Well, it isn't.
But this is after they preassume a curved sky.
Yeah, once they've taken the angles off a flat plane with respect to a flat sky and detailed the angles that they got, they can then describe the sky as curving, an equatorial plane with you standing in the middle of a hell that is a protractor, with a curved sky and a curved ground that you're not standing on, you're standing in.
Has managed to show that he was only about 1% off the true figure, which isn't bad at all for humanity's first attempt to measure the distance of the entire planet.
He didn't. You measured angles off a flat plane. Your lies are either through total ignorance. I think I'm just going to ascribe it to that straight away. Let's not even give the second opportunity. You're stupid. Right? He didn't measure the whole Earth. He measured elevation angles. That's all that was measured, and they are a flat Earth prerequisite. So what was measured again? Flat Earth angles. That's all that was measured. Let's get that absolutely clear, you delusional bonehead. Earth wasn't measured as a sphere in this instance. It was measured flat.
Suffice to say then that by the time Eratosthenes
He said it
died
was
in around
1% off the true measurement. Is he going to tell us how the true measurement was measured?
There isn't one.
And how can it be
195?
1% off?
It wasn't 1% off.
Can't be 1% off something you haven't validated. Just bullshit throwaway bollocks, as he put it.
BC, the fact the Earth was a globe was uncontested common knowledge.
Why did they measure it flat then? Why did they use this method of sticks and shadows off a flat plane for it to be an angle, if they knew it wasn't an angle capable surface? No, they just measured it flat, mate.
Isn't it funny that his main two critiques and proofs for his claim of a spherical Earth is Pythagoras and Eratosthenes? Two people that absolutely prove it's flat. Their
Triangles
methods
and
are
elevation
tried and
angles.
tested.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right angle triangles. Tried and tested.
With the writings and proof spreading all across the classical world, from ancient Egypt all the way up to the Romans. Now, I know what some of you might be starting to think at this point.
I think you're a wanker who doesn't know anything. That's what I'm starting to think.
Oh, Mooncake, what about the Dark Ages? And to that I'd say...
No, nobody would have thought that from what you just said. We would have pointed out that you're measuring a flat Earth for your elevation angles. And it's the only measurement that took place. So if you're going to rely on measurements, the only ones that you took were flat.
Watch your fucking language. No, seriously, the term Dark Age has really started to fall out of favour in academia over the last decade or so. I did archaeology and history in university.
Are we back to this? Flim-flam. Meaningless. Waffle. Sorry, hands up who gives the tiniest shits about this?
And if you said the phrase Dark Age around certain lecturers or scholars, you'd get some fucking severe looks, dude. Maybe even like a curt remark if they were feeling especially dangerous, you know?
Was it a fucking curt remark?
Anyway, the reason the term's falling off is because the Dark...
Nobody gives a shit about this, my friend. Yeah? You're deflating flat Earth theory with this, according to the title of this video. No, you're not. No, this is you sniffing your own farts, my friend.
Yeah, is he like trying to be a more edgy, even more edgy and even more ignorant? Well, probably at the same level. More edgy version of Dave McKeegan, just with more swearing.
I don't know what he's trying to be. I mean, he's coming across as a wanker. I know that.
He's definitely being that, but what he's trying to be, he has this Dave McKeegan thing going on, but with more swearing.
Dark Ages, they weren't really as dark as they've been made out to be. Don't get me wrong, when the Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476 AD, there was a huge political power vacuum in Europe for quite a while.
Nobody cares. This has nothing to do with the subject.
There was plenty of turmoil as well. Certainly a bit of nuance and sophistication was lost, and...
Yummy farts.
Humanity definitely took a couple of steps backwards overall. But it was far from this huge regress back into degeneracy like a lot of history books will make out and tell you. So the shape of the Earth, by now something well known...
This is a flat page with flat circles. This is a description of an asymptotically flat plane.
And commonplace was not one of those things that was largely forgotten about. A lot of the knowledge that was, shall we say, misplaced was eventually picked up and preserved by Islamic scholars in the East anyway, who eventually translated it and drip-fed it back into Europe in the later medieval period. But even before these scholarly achievements, Western Christian scholars such as the Venerable Bede were writing about a spherical Earth as far back as the 7th century.
Were they? I'm pretty sure that they also measured elevation angles to the stars. All right, let's see how he gets on with his cited source.
Without anybody giving a single shit. Bede's The Reckoning of Time was written in around 725, and it freely discusses the idea of Earth being a spherical globe in shape.
Really? I didn't see that on that two-dimensional diagram. Let's have a little look.
Is that pre...
Hold on, I'll bring it up
Copernicus?
for you. You can have a look on in the Hangout. Just give me a sec. You got that on the Hangout? You got that?
Yeah, relax.
Single shit.
Relax.
Bede's The Reckoning of Time was written in around 725, and it freely discusses the idea...
What we got here? Let's have a little look.
Is this going to be another one of those times where they claim that somebody from years ago talked about the Earth being a sphere? Then when you read about what was actually talked about, and it doesn't support that at all. Like with Aristotle.
I just stepped up to have a look at it on my bigger screen to get a better
I
look.
don't know. We need Adam, don't we? Because he said he was researching this recently.
Where's the inference of sphericity in this diagram?
More
Where
like
is
a
it?
moon phase thing or something.
Looks like a moon phase diagram to me. I don't really see how this is in any way alluding to what he's just suggested it alludes to. The flat diagram of circulars, not of spheres, and he's not pointing out where it alludes to that. So I'm going to go with no.
Idea of Earth being a spherical globe
Where's that?
in shape.
It's Sol. And it's circular, it's not spherical.
Absolutely nobody at the time took offence at this point, disputed it, or even gave it a second glance.
But you're just showing writing that's random that doesn't allude to sphericity. Where does it say that in this? Is he highlighting it? What in this is saying what you're saying? It's just some old text.
The Christian church from around the 4th century
Are you not
onwards
hypnotised, Nathan?
What, mesmerised by his old text? Not in the slightest.
had absolutely no issue.
Yeah, we get this a lot from wankers. They just put up some old text that doesn't actually confirm what they've said. Like, look, old text. I'm talking about old text, therefore old text. And therefore what I said was correct. No, you need to actually cite something and show how it alludes to the point that you've just made, not just throw up some pictures of old text with circles.
Issue with the idea of a spherical Earth at all.
You haven't shown that yet. You haven't made your point. You think you've made your point because you've showed them some old text.
Any other major world religion you can think of is absolutely the same on that point. The only contention that the church ever had...
Sorry, this also depicts a heliocentric, asymptotically flat plane. If you look at the way this diagram's laid out, the centre point for the flat plane of reference is in hell. Yeah, that's how this all functions, from hell. That's because it's based on the equatorial plane and flat Earth elevation angle measurements to the celestial items. That's why it's a flat plane also. Depicted from the centre of a protractor. You think that's globe Earth. It's not.
Was where the Earth specifically was in space.
With respect to an asymptotically flat plane. So you'd be in hell to describe the angle relationships. Yeah? Let's just bring up my diagram. Oh no, it's not sharing anymore. I'm sharing this. Ugh, don't worry.
Until 1822, the Catholic Church argued that the sun went around the Earth, not the Earth around the sun. This is what Galileo was famously put on trial for in 1633.
Right, let me get it right. In this timeline, somebody's being put on trial because it's contentious, yet we already have known past tense for thousands of years. The debate was settled. Is it just me, or does this timeline make absolutely no sense whatsoever? Is it just me?
No,
Why would anybody be getting in trouble for anything at this point if we've known for thousands of years? We know, right? No, we're measuring Earth flat with angles up until this point. But in his mind, it's already been settled, yet the saga continues.
Arguing that the Earth went round the sun, not that the Earth was round. So irrespective of...
Didn't we already have an appeal to occultation in heliocentric motion when we described what the moon did? Did that not pass anybody else by? Hadn't we already appealed to this thousands of years prior? Before it existed?
Yeah, he showed moon phases that would require heliocentrism within his paradigm.
Yeah. Is it just me, or do you have a wanker timeline that makes no fucking sense? Yeah, my swear words are a lot more effective because they make it demonstrably clear why I'm swearing at you and calling you a wanker. Your timeline makes no sense, dum-dum.
What you think about the Dark Ages, anyone remotely educated in early medieval Christendom would have known about and been perfectly happy with the fact that the Earth was a globe.
But Nathan, calling him a wanker means you're misgendering him.
A mother, yeah.
In fact, as the medieval age went on and shipbuilding technology got more and more advanced, the roundness of the Earth would only get more obvious to the average medieval person. As more and more people took voyages across the ocean or watched ships sailing from and to port, they observed the ships disappearing over the curved horizons. And then
For a curved horizon's an oxymoron. And these ships, how do they find their way around? Is it with elevation angles practically applied to a flat surface? With the maps that they use that are flat? And the circles of equal elevation that they use to find their way home? Is that with respect to a practical apply curved horizon? Because I don't think they use the horizon as a curve when they establish it as flat with a sextant, so that they don't die. Now, bearing in mind that observing what ships appear to do isn't really very useful in practical terms, and would infer that the thing you're using to establish a horizontal plane of reference to get an angle to a star actually defies the principle you're utilizing it for, because it curves when you observe a ship idly disappearing from your view with perspective. Yeah, hashtag shit shrinks. Earlier, you showed orthographic representations for Earth curve, though, didn't you? And your horizon, even in this image, isn't curving. It's used
Nathan,
practically to establish a flat
in
plane.
all fairness, as a sailor myself, as a former sailor and seaman, basically I have to say yes, like the Earth is flat, like simple as what from like 10 kilometers you just see ships vanishing, like from the view even, and then you see them on radar. Then you look at them with like a powerful binocular, and I guess you invented the X-ray machine for like the curved Earth, I guess.
Yeah.
Then I guess you can by smoking a cigarette and having the smoking up, you invent the anti-gravity machine, I guess. Like,
You're on fire, mate.
Like this is the thing. By the way, Nathan, I love you, Nathan. Like I was watching at your videos, I was watching at some videos of you, Nathan, and I just I love the way you expose this flat Earth, and you get you are very passionate about same thing as me, I think
thank
you're
you.
cool, man.
I'm blushing. Thank you so much. Well, you're
God
on fire
bless you,
today,
brother.
Dr. Dark.
God bless you.
Yeah, absolutely
Say
spot on.
again?
You're on fire. You're saying that you watch the boat by your vision, the apparent nature of it is it disappears bottom first. Then you see it on radar. Then what are you scanning through the Earth curve when you see it on radar, or bring out some binoculars? Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Basically, I was trying to look at in the direction of where the radar showed the boat, the ship, and it wasn't like a small ship either. Like it wasn't that small of a ship. It could be visible. And what I saw not only the top of the ship, I saw the very bottom of it, and I was like, hold on, am I able to see? It's either that I'm able to see through curvature, or through hecto billions of trillions of liters of water, or the Earth is flat. And then I realized, yes, the Earth is flat. I took a flight, basically a week later, I took a flight to another country, and I was okay. If the horizon will be flat even on an airplane, since geometrically speaking and mathematically speaking, we should be able to see the curvature even from 12 kilometers in the air. And basically I saw nothing. I tried to put my ID card on the side of on the window of the airplane. No curvature, nothing, just like a flat plane. And this is the thing, this is what NASA does. NASA basically they say the T minus when they launch a rocket, and they say it look, it's flat, even they say it I trust science. Science says it's flat. I trust basically also governments say it's flat. Look at the UN logo. Everybody knows it's flat. Everybody knows it's flat. It's just like those globe earthers who believe in gravity fairy tales, such as the gravity theories. So theories justified by theories. And how does this apply? Well, it's the theory of relativity and the theory of gravity. But you never see on the globe laws and theorems and theses applying It's just like, you know, I'm sorry for yapping a lot and talking too much, but like, this is just the thing I have to get off my chest. Like, and also because I'm in the midst of people who actually, like, you know, agree with me. And like, at least on that thing of the shape of the very place we live in. Like, and people say, oh, why does it matter to you? Like, why does it matter? It matters because it's the thing I live on. It's the very thing I live on. And I apply my science, I apply my basically measurements and all sorts of things upon this thing that I live on. So here you go. Like, sorry for talking.
No, that's all right.
I apologize.
Hey, you feel free. I mean, the only thing I would say is that when you're looking at the horizon in an aeroplane, as of literally in the last month or two, we've got demonstrable evidence of how they reference a horizontal plane and keep their nose above it. So where previously it's like you can make inferences from the flat Earth side about what the horizon does by what you see, what is apparent, but it's practically applied, and we can demonstrate that now. So the horizon has a practical application. In the case of this video, he's talking about boats disappearing over an Earth curve we debunked in 2020 with the Black Swan. But in terms of the practical application of the horizon, you establish a horizontal plane with it, and the same is true in an aeroplane. They reference the horizon, they reference horizontal, they document it as they fly.
They're not referencing the horizon, Nathan.
No. I appreciate that's not the horizon. It's a different example. I'm just saying in this video, he's using the horizon, and that is referenced with a sextant. In the plane, we've got documentation. That is to say, the pitch data itself references with the use of a gyro. I didn't put that in, but that's obviously what you're critiquing me on.
Yeah, the pitch data the pitch data shows that it's flying over a horizontal plane. The mean sea level is horizontal. That's what that shows.
Right.
The real problem here is that when the guy on the video, right, when he brought up the horizon, you didn't say that the horizon is not the leading geometric edge of a sphere.
Right.
You went into celestial navigation. No, it's not the leading geometric edge of a sphere. End of story. That would be my critique on you right now.
No, fair enough.
That's the most important point but to me, that's the most important point.
Yeah, the horizon
Maybe you
is
have a
not
different view these days. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're right. The horizon's not the geometric leading edge of a sphere. It's not formerly known as Earth curve horizon, as depicted in Earth curve maths, as this guy's had it on his presentation in orthographic view. We do establish horizontal with the horizon. You can't have a horizon on a globe. Any other comments? Because I'm going to round out. No?
Thanks for going for the second video. It was a good laugh. Thanks for today. Really enjoyed it.
Oh, absolutely my pleasure. With that, though, I'm going to say another massive, huge, enormous thank you to both Discord and Cheapers panels for making today's after show possible. And, of course, a massive thank you to all of you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hitting me up on Ko-Fi and PayPal and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.